Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Kitchen Stadium, where tonight is a battle for the ages. It's a special Thanksgiving battle between two culinary heavyweights of Totsuki Academy. In this corner, we have a transfer student whose cooking background seems to stem from working at his father's diner. Ugh. He's weird, but he's stronger than he looks. Please give a round of applause for Soma Yukihira. Oh yeah! Time to show people what the Yukihira diner is all about. And in the other corner, granddaughter of the Academy's chairman. Her tastes are very refined and specific, earning her the nicknames God Tongue and Head Bitch in Charge. Give it up for Totsuki's own Erina Nakari.
Whatever. You know I'm going to win this competition. Wait, did you just call me a bitch?
Now, before the battle begins, there are a few ground rules. First, this battle may contain a few ingredients of the participant's choice. Some savory and unsavory for the audience. Viewer discretion is advised. Second, while the food is fresh, there is always a possibility a broth or two may be spoiled if you're not careful. We had one competitor's lobster hot pot ruined by a few oysters.
I remember him. The poor sap lost in an overwhelming victory to me, and he lost his club room as a result.
But it won't go down that easy. Last but not least, the opinions expressed are that of the individual judges and do not reflect Kitchen Stadium as a whole. And with that, have a happy Thanksgiving for the Dub Talk Podcast, and let the battle begin!
Welcome, prospective chefs, young and old, to Totsuki Academy, the most brutal and most prestigious cooking academy in the world. Chef Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen ain't got nothing on this place, and if you think you've got the skills to dice, saute, whip, reduce, extract, serve, and flambe your way to the top, then have we got a challenge for you. We are here to discuss one of the sagas of Totsuki Academy. That's right, we're going to discuss the legendary story that took place many moons ago, when the world was set ablaze by one story known only as Shokugeki no Soma, aka Food Wars. And to do this, I have assembled a fine selection of chefs who are going to give you the greatest dishes served up and basically prove that we are awesome at cooking. So, I am Chef Noah, head chef of this illustrious club, and my specialty is in stews and soups of various types. If you want chili, potato soup, clam chowder, I can whip it up for you and make the most delicious meal you have ever had. So, let me introduce the other chefs who have assembled together. Chefs, let's first introduce our head pastry chef, the one and only Lilac.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
Excellent. And what dish have you served up for us as the head pastry person today?
Well, currently in front of me, I have a mocha chip muffin. I haven't touched it yet, and I'm getting very hungry just looking at it. By the way, welcome to Dub Talk, y'all!
Oh yeah, this is supposed to be a podcast, isn't it?
Because you didn't introduce it as Dub Talk, Noah!
Well, I kind of assume that the people can read the title at the top of the screen, and this is what, episode 622 we've done before? But fair enough.
But the intro, dude! The intro!
The intro, fine.
You gotta introduce it as Dub Talk, motherfucker!
We have to do this whole thing again. Hit
Oh.
the reset button.
No,
All right,
we're not doing this
cancel
whole
the
thing
oven,
again.
Turn off the fire. Okay, no, let's not do that. Although, I did hear
It's
another...
burning!
I heard another chef in the background there. I think, in addition to a cool pastry chef, we also have the world's finest sushi chef, who apparently knows how to make a really good yellowtail. Everyone, serve up your plates for Zenith will rule.
Zen sushi ain't nothing to fuck with. Just like the Wu-Tang Clan.
Interesting comparison.
Yeah, I think the both of you would actually be very raw.
Ooh.
That's a compliment.
Bad joke.
And to round it off, a full-course meal at Totsuki Academy's Dub Talk would not be complete without our premier Spanish chef, Ladies and gentlemen, fry up your peppers and turn your eyes over to Chef Jamal!
Hola, mis amigos. I'm here every time Steph craves something chocolatey.
El hueco está en tus pantalones.
Damn it, Jamal!
You're making me think that scene from
Wait, hold still, Steph. You got some custard on your face.
God damn it, go away! Get away from my station, you go back in that corner. This is my show! My pastry show!
Lo siento.
Can we get some chipotle peppers on that dish?
You're gonna need some chipotle.
First off, it's chipotle, mi amigo. And second of all, can we get the show rolling?
Let's
Yes.
go rolling. All right, the oven is
Can we?
preheated. Are you chefs ready to fry up a good show here tonight?
Quick
I
question for the folks at home. What is this show about exactly?
Are you asking me, or are you asking the audience who can't answer back?
I'm asking you, you dum-dum. You're the host.
I was about to get to that, but I wanted to hear like a resounding, well, first you have to shout out, order up!
I don't have my
No.
headband on. I'm not ready for that.
Interesting
No.
you mentioned a headband, because what we have here is we are going to be discussing the English dub of JC Staff's Food Wars. Yes, we did not put on the chef getup just for kicks and giggles. What Food Wars is about, in case you've not heard it before, you have probably at least seen a gif or two of this show. What it's about is young chef, and I mean high school age, Yukihiro Soma, has just from his dad's insistence, entered into the illustrious Totsuki Academy to learn the ways of cooking. And I don't mean like just to actually learn how to cook, because he already knows how to do that pretty good. This is a place where people are actually eliminated from the school if they're not good enough, if they're not smart enough, or if they're not illustrious enough, or if they don't have the ingenuity to learn how to cook. Because in Totsuki, cooking is everything.
If the intro that Noah gave to the episode is any indication, this school is hard as fuck.
Yep.
There's only a 10% graduation rate.
Yeah.
So and I believe there's like thousands of applicants, but it's only like the best of the best. They basically describe this place as a pyramid. So you have to make sure you climb to the top. And so like out of every single class, it's rare for a bunch of them to really get through. Except for this year, where we actually do have a higher success rate, because this crop of candidates is amazing.
Yes, they are. And we'll talk about who the best of the best are, because, as we'll get to in this episode, Soma meets an entire crew of amazing chefs of his own age, all of them who seem to have their own unique cooking style or preferences, which is pretty typical for a shonen battle manga, which is what this originally was. So we're going to see not only some awesome fights, but we're also going to see some mouth-watering delicious meals, because in every episode, they show you an actual meal you can make up. And I gotta give a shout out to her, the manga was written with the help of Morisaki Yuki, who is a professional dietitian who actually made sure that all the meals in the show are stuff that you can actually cook. I'm just getting...
Hey, then.
And while they go through it quickly, they do go through the recipes, and they have recipes online that you can find for every single dish that they make here.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, in the manga, like some of the chapters, they actually have panels with like an actual like small little quick recipe for those things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it makes it different from manga like Toriko, where it's imaginary food. Like, no, this is stuff that you can actually go in your grocery store, buy the stuff for, and put together yourself. But, can we graduate? That is what
I
we're going
sure as hell hope so.
Well, let's find out.
I mean, we may only be covering 14 episodes, but I sure as hell hope we can graduate today.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yes, so this series was picked up by Sentai Filmworks, and they are releasing the show on their streaming service High Dive. At this point in recording, we have watched, at least me, Lilac, and Jamal have watched up to 14 episodes of the first season, so that's what we'll be covering. Zenith has actually seen the whole show because she bought the home video release of it. So
she's a crazy bastard and bought the premium set.
Yes, I went out and bought the premium box set, which comes with a whole bunch of stuff, mostly because I am prepping a review of it. It's just been cooking in the oven for a while, and I'm still waiting for Yeah, I know.
Shit, son.
The pun was bad, but
That's a bad pun.
It sounds tasty already. Just make sure
And,
you glaze that with like some nice criticism.
Oh my god, let's go.
I'm gonna demi-glaze it, but yeah, like I've been waiting for a little bit of help since I've been trying to essentially I've been trying to get out a bunch more anime reviews planned, and they're going to come out. I just want to make sure they're properly seasoned and that they're
This whole episode, oh my goodness. Cooking puns nonstop.
The cooking and food puns, they will be very strong in this episode, ladies and gentlemen. Be
Oh,
prepared
yes.
to facepalm on countless occasions.
All right.
I just want to make sure that they're good before I put them out. So I've been running them by a bunch of people. So yeah.
All right. So let's start with the head chef of this dub that Sentai put out, and that is the ADR director and the script writers. And that is and as a preface to all of our regular listeners, some of us had predictions for this show, but because there's a large cast of characters and we want to keep this in an enjoyably timed podcast, we're just going to be sticking to the actual cast members and won't be going over the predictions that we had. So there you go. So director for the show, this dub was directed, let's see, it's a Sentai Filmworks dub, and it's mostly a comedy, so who do you people think could direct this?
I mean, the two big directors at Sentai are Chris Ayres and Kyle Colby Jones. I wonder who's directing Food Wars, guys.
Yeah, how about the big cheese himself?
Let me flip a coin here. It's gonna be one of those two, and it's Kyle Colby Jones!
Woohoo!
Yes, Kyle Colby Jones is directing this series, and Kyle has done a lot of directing for Sentai shows. If you've seen any show made by Sentai in the past couple million years, he's probably directed one of them. Some of his better shows are, he directed Umaru-chan, he directed Kino's Journey, he directed Nozaki-kun, and he directed When Supernatural Battles Become Commonplace, just to name a few. And that should
and just as a side note, when Noah says Kino's Journey, he means the original ADV release of Kino's Journey, not the new one that's currently airing.
Yes, thank you. Because ADV did not get the new one because they don't exist anymore.
Because now we apparently have 2 different dubs for like every series coming out. Like it's weird.
Not every series. Stop it.
Just about.
All right, the point is,
old
okay,
ones.
my point was that I listed 4 shows, just 4 of the many shows he's directed. All of those are different genres and styles, to give you an idea that he's directed every kind of anime out there.
Yeah.
But he can't direct it without good writers. So we have 3 writers listed as the script writers for this show, and I do not know exactly which episodes they all directed, because in the credits for every episode, all 3 of them are listed, so we don't have a breakdown by episode. But those 3 people...
It's a team effort, then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and those 3 people are George Manley, Marta Bechtel, and some guy named Kyle Colby Jones. I don't know who he is.
Like,
Who is that?
I don't know.
the odds are that if Kyle Colby Jones is directing a show, there's a high chance he's also writing it.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
true.
That's how Sentai works, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Kyle's he's written for, let's see, he wrote for Umaru-chan, which he also directed. He also wrote for Amnesia, he wrote for Sunday Without God, he wrote for Akame ga Kill. Like, yeah, he's writing all over the board.
Why did you bring up Amnesia, that piece of trash?
I'm trying to be diverse here.
I know you are, but it's a piece of trash.
It's called a sampler platter.
Sometimes trash can be good. I mean, there are
No!
anime coming
No!
forth later.
Amnesia is not good.
Zenith,
No!
Gigi
Gigi will also agree with you. And she's the shoujo trash queen, damn it!
Okay, well, Gigi, down in the comments there, type, "Yay! Thank you for mentioning Amnesia," and
No, don't do it.
they'll make me justified. But
Don't
more
do
importantly, our other 2 writers here, George has written for quite a few series as well. He's been in the game for quite a while. To give you an idea of how long he's been around, one of the earlier credits I found for writing for him was he wrote for Full Metal Panic: The Second Raid. More recently, he's written for When Supernatural Battles Become Commonplace. He's written for Log Horizon. He's written for Gate. And one of Lilac's favorite series, he helped write for Dramatical Murder.
You mean your favorite series, Noah?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Thank you, Jamal!
Everyone
I
loves
was like,
that.
you mean your favorite show there, Noah?
I thought it was Diabolic Lovers was his favorite.
Oh, I haven't seen Diabolic Lovers.
Noah hasn't seen Diabolic Lovers. He's
okay.
escaped that.
Dramatical Murder it's an interesting beast altogether.
Okay, because I was about to say I haven't seen any of the shows you just listed except for Dramatical Murder, so that explains a bit.
You haven't seen Full Metal Panic?
No, actually, I have not. I own it too, which is the sad part.
Guys.
Have like 75 to 80% of the stuff I own I haven't watched, and it's very, very depressing.
All right, we need to have an intervention, Lilac.
No,
You're
we
not
don't.
allowed to buy
This
any
is-
more anime until you finish
No,
all
we
of them.
don't.
That's
No,
a
we
lie.
don't.
That,
No,
Christmas
we
is coming
don't.
up. She's gonna buy everything and never watch it. And
Probably.
so will you! You listeners out there who do the same thing. I know, 'cause I do
Anywho.
it too.
Anyway,
See, I've made a pact that until I reviewed all this anime, I can't buy any more.
well, too bad.
Oh,
Secret
God.
Santa's a thing that exists.
You're gonna have to buy some stuff anyway.
Anyway, what about this third writer of ours there, Noah?
Now this is very interesting because Marta is mostly known as a production assistant. Most of her credits listed is that she's only written for a couple of things recently for Sentai. Mostly it seems movies actually, because she helped write the script for the Beyond the Boundary movie, and she helped write the Tomoko love story film script as well. She also has writing credits on a couple series like Gate. So she's not new to the scene, but she's a little new to the script writing scene.
Okay, never a bad thing.
Yes. So this is a series that is on the surface very goofy, but also has some dramatical instances in it when it comes to the seriousness of people taking their cooking. So, Jamal, what do you think of the directing and the writing of the episodes you've seen so far?
I think for the most part, it's pretty good. I mean, Kyle Kobe Jones.
Nice, good job.
I'm sure
Kyle
you've never
Kobe-
heard that one before.
Dude, he follows us on Twitter now. Behave, please.
Yeah, so his director is pretty solid. His script writing is pretty good. I do have kind of an issue with maybe a couple of the characters, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Otherwise, on the script writing again, I did notice there was some shortcomings, but I don't know. I don't want to blame it on any one of the script writers, because I mean, we don't know who wrote what episode. I mean, they all wrote every episode, so
As far as we know, yeah.
yeah. So any shortcomings they may have had is probably either a translation issue, or they just didn't know how to localize it properly.
Did you have like a particular line that you can point to and say that this could have been translated better?
Let's see. Oh, when the two meatheads greet Soma in the hotel room after he lost his battle with the French chef.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah?
I heard one. I could have sworn I heard one of them call him a dogs or something like, "Yo, dog, what up?" or something like that.
Dog or bro, that was
bro.
commonly used but really just with those characters specifically.
Yeah, but there was also a couple places where it was used a little out of context. But for
Yeah,
the most
true.
part, it's pretty good. So.
That's fair enough. But would you say that it accurately captures the high school feel of the characters?
That depends on which of us went to high school, because that's not what I would think of when I think of high school.
I mean,
yeah.
culinary high school is exactly like that in the real world, ladies and gentlemen. It's exactly like that.
Well, it's
Shonen
different compared to a
culinary.
culinary college, because I've went to one, and
It's exactly like that, right?
I'm sure it
no, I wish we partied harder like that. We get
Aw.
worn out, but we do get worn out doing events, so.
All right, Jamal, I promise, next time all of us get together at a con, we will stay up all night having cooking battles and playing card games.
That'll be very difficult in a hotel, but moving on.
You would lose at a cooking duel and at blackjack. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Oh
We'll
no.
take over the kitchen. We won't do it in our hotel room. We'll just take over the staff kitchen.
Oh my god, they will not let us. Anyway, moving on.
Lilac, you just need to have some strong opinions about the writing and the directing. So what did you think?
Writing wise, because I've stated this numerous times before, one of my pet peeves really is modern terminology or slang that could potentially date the material. And that's always been one of my biggest complaints when it comes to writing. While there was some of that here, because yes, the whole dog bro thing happened, and I think early on too, someone called Soma a plebeian. or plebe
Yeah.
or something early on.
Yeah.
Even though there were small instances of that, they were very rare, and I actually was not bothered by it, which is very awesome to me. Because to kind of summarize this show, Food Wars is essentially a food shonen series. That's the best way to describe it. And I think the writing and directing went in that direction with it, and they had a lot of fun with it, and you can tell that they had fun with it. Like Jamal, I do have really just some issues with casting choices, but we'll get to that later on. That's really the only drawback I had that was really major, was just one casting choice in particular I had.
I think I know where you're going
problem.
with that too.
Probably, but
think
we'll
anyone
get to that later on.
Yeah, anyone who's seen the show is probably thinking the same thing, but I hope we're all thinking the same thing.
But overall, I'd say the directing and the writing is rather solid for this show. I put quite a bit of faith in this because I knew this was going to be one of Sentai's larger properties that was coming out this year. And it's pretty much panned out, I would say. It's very good, and I enjoyed it, and I'm happy I've gotten to rewatch it again so far.
Nice. Now, if only we could verify that Season 3 is going to be picked up by Sentai Filmworks, because that's still up in the air.
That's weird that they haven't verified that yet, but yeah. I would imagine that they would eventually.
Yeah, it's...
Only time will tell.
Yeah, for the viewers
I really hope so, because Season 3 is, like, the best season so far, so...
Well, they're all
I imagine it's really just something on maybe, like, Japan's end that's holding them up, because Sentai would have jumped on that right away.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
it's a
it
little
has
weird.
to be something on the other end.
With the Crunchyroll Funimation deal right now, we know it's airing. The third season's airing on Crunchyroll, which means that a lot of their shows will go automatically to Funimation. But this is an instance where the first 2 seasons went to Sentai, so we would hope that it would stick with the same company.
We also got to remember, though, that just because it's on Crunchyroll, it's not going to automatically go to Sentai. Automatically go to Funimation.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there are a few shows this season, too, like Blend S is an Aniplex title, and it's on Crunchyroll. So just because it's on Crunchyroll, it doesn't guarantee it's going to Funimation. It's just if, I guess, that partnership came through, then it would go to Funimation. But I don't think that would happen in Food Wars' case. I think it's something on Japan's end that's holding it up. That's
Hopefully
my
by the time
understanding.
this episode comes up, we'll have an answer.
Yeah, I
Hopefully.
mean, it's a super popular anime and manga. Like, a lot of people are on it, so it's probably Japan.
So, about Zenith, what did you take away from the directing and writing on this? Well, actually, the whole first season, because you got through the whole thing.
Yes. Honestly, I was initially a bit disappointed because the first 3 episodes are a little bit rough for one particular character. But aside from 2 characters throughout the entire show, I think this is a very, very well-made production. There are obviously problems, and we'll get to them, but I think a lot of the casting choices are unorthodox, and while at first I'm like, not who I would cast, but as I went through the show, I'm like, they did a very different and very good performance, and I think a lot of it is to do with the scripting, and I think a lot of it is to do with the directing. Not people who I would normally see in these roles, but as I was going by, I'm like, yeah, this really works, and I think it has to show that it wanted to separate itself from the Japanese. You know, there's a very distinct feel for the show in the Japanese sub, and a lot of people, you know, for something like this, you have to stand out, especially because on its own, it's a show that has a lot going for it as it is. It has a very distinct flair, and so they went a very different direction, and I think it paid off in the end. Is it perfect? No, and we'll talk about like the 2 characters who I absolutely hate, but you know, I think for the most part it pans out, and we'll get to that in a bit.
Thank you, because we'll save the more in-depth discussion for when we get to the particular characters. I had a similar problem too, I think, to you, in that the first couple episodes weren't so endearing to me, because we have the main character at the beginning who is kind of hit or miss in the acting department, just because it depends on if you like Soma himself or not. Some people don't. Some people are just okay with him, and I was just in the he's okay camp. And in the first few episodes, we don't have any other named characters except for one, which we will get to, and the rest are background characters or one-shot characters. And this show has a tendency to have their one-shot characters that sound kind of goofy or like not all that serious sounding, and that took away from like what's the main cast going to be like. But once we got to episode 4 and the main cast of the Polar Star Cafe is introduced, and we get more of the chefs that are going to be continuing the show introduced, I had no problem with them. I was like, okay, this is turning out better. I think this is going to hold its weight against the Japanese.
I think the best way, and I described this a little bit in my script for the show, is that you can skip episodes 1 and 2 without really missing much. They're pretty much just setting up the world, and I think where the dub and the show really finds its footing is episode 3, when they introduce Tadakura Megumi and they actually get into the school, and that's when things really pick up, and actually when the background characters stop. Well, not for the background characters still are an issue, but they aren't there for the majority of the episodes after that. So for the most part, you can ignore them. It's just you really can get a feel for the world and the episodes starting from episode 3. So if you're having problems, and I did too, just wait until episode 3 or skip episodes 1 and 2, because all the stuff that's introduced or shown in episodes 1 and 2 are flashed back to or alluded to after episode 3.
That is
the
true.
other thing to kind of note is the first 2 episodes of the show are kind of similar to, because oddly enough, the first time I watched this was because I made a deal with you, Zenith. Gonna bring up Arslan for a second.
Oh, you
yes,
poor fool.
Arslan.
No,
that was way back when.
I know, but here's the thing. Similar to the first episode of Arslan, because you hated the first episode of Arslan, I think the first 2 episodes of Food Wars are essentially like that episode are a necessary evil. You kind of need that to set up the world and get this whole thing done. But in Food Wars' case, the big thing with that is a lot of the whole sexualization of these food reactions are very much overdone and now overplayed in those first couple of episodes, and then is toned down a bit because the mangaka, just to kind of get this to go through, did that on purpose and then kind of toned it down once it kind of became more popular. And as the series goes on, you see less and less of those moments. So the first 2 episodes, I think, are a necessary evil, if anything.
Yeah, and speaking on those sexualizations, I think the clever thing was after like around episode 4 or 5, they started turning these foodgasms, as they call it, into more like transformation phases or like silly little gags where like you see magical cabbage girls and stuff like that, where it's more about the fun.
Jamal died on the inside probably when he saw that, but I just laughed my ass off because it was.
I thought it was.
I could guess what show that ripped off.
Gee.
I wouldn't say rip off. I would say homage.
Parody.
Because
let's go
parody.
Nice and call it an homage.
Let's call it a parody.
Now, to give context though on that aspect, I don't think it was just they didn't put those food gasm elements in there just to push the book when it was first publishing, because there's a bit of a background information. The artist for the original manga, his name is Seki Shun. He also goes by the nickname Tosh, and he was known before this predominantly as a hentai doujin mangaka. So it's not
that
like this
makes
was
so
on his
much
wheelhouse.
sense.
Yeah, this is like an Azumanga Daioh situation where the doujin artist became a legitimate credible artist.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense
hentai
now.
Artist. Yep. And you too, you hentai deviant art artists out there too, you can be a real artist one day too.
All right, we've been at this for half an hour already, and there's too many characters to go on. Let's just keep going.
Too many cooks. Too many cooks.
Yes, too many cooks.
We will
spoil the brew.
We will get through this. So
We
thank
will
you
manage.
guys. Now to break this down for all you you chefs at home, we're gonna start with the adult chefs, or at least the ones that are most prominent in the first 14 episodes, and then we're gonna work our way up the student ranks here. So let's start first with 3 characters that we meet during the training arc of this whole thing. First one we're gonna talk about is Jin Dojima, who is the head of the training camp. He's like the clean-shaven, almost bald guy who we see bathing in the bathtub in episode 11. Is flexing those muscles for the female viewers
That
out
was
there.
great.
Also known as
And
the
then you-
most moe man alive.
Yes.
And then you see the name tag come up with his where his sausage should be. Let's put it that way.
Cabbage pink.
Oh God.
In addition,
Anyway.
speaking of pink, in addition to Jin, we're also going to talk about Kojiro Shinamaya,
Perfect segue.
who is the pink-haired, glasses-wearing... Okay, he's not French. He is not French, he is Japanese, but he's renowned because after school, he moved to France, opened his own restaurant, and got the top prize there. And he is also a bitch and a half, so...
He's
He's
an
also the
asshole.
magician of legumes or vegetables.
Yes.
And so he's the vegetable chef.
Yes, as he is. But
That's
he
especially,
he
yeah.
needs someone to balance him out. And so to balance him out, for our third person to discuss, we're going to talk about his, I'm going to put in quotation marks, best friend, Hinaka Inayu, who is known as the Mist Empress. She's basically the kind-hearted balancing agent who is in charge of one of the lessons during the training arc and becomes instrumental in one particular food war, but we won't spoil that for all you folks out there who want to see it yourself. But she is a precious cinnamon roll who is just adorable. So
I'm
And
just saying.
she
we-
loves
I'm-
Megumi with all her heart. I love
Yes.
her.
Yeah.
oh,
I'm just
well,
saying
everyone
we
does.
have. I'm just saying. No, we have spoiler reasons for a reason, so we can talk about shit.
I don't want to spoil the dish. I want to present it perfectly cooked to our participants.
Well,
Yeah,
we'll
I
probably
think
spoil
certain-
it later, but
I think
Yeah.
certain portions of this should not be spoiled because I mean it's not like it's not a case in which it will really affect your enjoyment, but I do think that certain parts of Food Wars are best experienced because of how over the top they are and the feeling you get when you watch the episodes.
well, I mean,
Yeah,
I
we'll
could just
do-
I could just say a simple spoiler, and it still wouldn't be enough to tell you what the story is. You do have to experience it, so I
Yeah.
can still spoil something, but like
Try to keep
it's-
it. Try to keep it within a description that's not going to spoil the viewing experience.
Yes.
No, like I'm just saying, like even if I spoiled something, it's not gonna butcher the experience because oh boy, is Food Wars something you gotta experience in and of itself. Good lord.
Yes,
anyway,
it is an
Speaking of
experience.
which,
Anyway,
the voice actors, you probably want to know which chefs voice these characters.
please
So-
and thank you.
All right, so for Jin, we have, and ladies, keep your pants on. Ty Mahoney is
Oop, too late.
He's probably better known to all you ladies out there as Nozaki and Nozaki-kun. He's also Shu in Diabolic Lovers. Stop laughing.
Sorry.
He's Joe in Crowds for like the manly characters out there. He's Akira in Gate. He's like the manliest moe character of Sentai's entire acting pool right now. Let's
I
see.
don't know about that.
On top, okay, for Kojiro, we have a less seasoned individual. We have Benjamin McLaughlin. I believe I'm not sure if I'm
McLaughlin.
McLaughlin. Oh, it's also it's like Sarah McLaughlin. Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you, Benjamin McLaughlin, who has done a handful of shows, but is probably best known as Hajime Kiriyo in how do you pronounce the whole thing? It's When Supernatural Battles Become Commonplace, and he's also Leonardo in Log Horizon, which is a show a lot of people have seen. So I'm gonna assume that that's where you may have heard him most often.
No,
No? Okay. Well, now
I've
you've
never
heard
seen
him.
Log Horizon.
Well, now you've heard him in this show.
Yeah.
And he's also in another show that we're probably going to talk about later, so I won't spoil that one. But my favorite of this trio is actually the voice of Hinako,
Yes.
who is Allison Sumrall. And if that name doesn't sound familiar, she has actually been around the Sentai ADV pool for quite a while. She was Kagura in Azumanga She's also Mari in Gate. She's Mila in Monster Musume. And way, way back in the past there, she was Rina in Digikarat. So
First of all, you spoiled Monster Musume because that episode hasn't been recorded yet.
we can take that part out. I'm sorry if we need
First
to.
of all. Second of all, I think maybe the last time, at least I remember talking about Allison Summerall, might have been Parasite, actually. She
Let's-
played, the mother. She played the mom, I think. Can't remember. It's been a while.
I'm never watching that show, so I'm going to assume you're not making that up.
I'm not making it up. But,
Okay.
anyway.
Okay, so those are 3 characters that get most prominence in the training, in the food camp arc that pops up. Lilac, did you have any particular thoughts on any of these 3 actors, aside from crushing on Tai?
I don't have a crush on Tai, first of all.
You don't have to hide it, Lilac. It's okay to let your feelings show.
No, legit, I don't, actually.
Okay.
I think it might be either Gigi or Megan, but I legit don't. Let's see. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet because they were only in there maybe for a few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Tai is great as the manly graduate. Aside from the director, who we're gonna talk about in a little bit, I think it was a fun performance. Because for those who don't remember, I was not a fan of him as Shu Sakimaki in Diabolic Lovers, but I think he's phenomenal here. Allison, I thought she was very spunky and very full of energy and rather comical. Benjamin, since this is the first time I've ever heard him in anything, it was kind of iffy. Only because, like, in my mind, when you have that character, a sleazeball, glasses-wearing character like that, just to kind of put a comparison out there, let's say if it went to a Funimation dub.
Oh, let me guess.
No, I'm not gonna say Tatum.
Oh, really?
I actually would have pictured Eric Vale.
I thought he was gonna say Chris Wakem.
No, Eric.
I mean,
Vale
he could have.
Sleazeball too, so that.
Eric Vale does play sleazeball characters sometimes, and this would have been good here. Let's talk about Nishiki from Tokyo Ghoul, ladies and gentlemen. Now you see where the comparison came from. But it's not what I thought of in my head, and it took a little bit to get used to. It might be because he's still relatively new, and he's still a pretty new, fresh face, that I think between the 3 of them, I think he was the weakest performance. But at the same time, I'm very interested to see how this performance will grow throughout the show. Because on High Dive, again, they're releasing the episodes week to week, and that I would not be surprised if they're currently working on dubbing the 2nd season. Mm-hmm. So I'm very interested. There's potential there, and I'm very interested to see where he goes with the character and how he's going to make that grow. But all 3 of them are relatively good.
Okay. Okay, I'm glad. All right. Jamal, can we take the ball there and say, did you have any issues with any of the characters?
Do you have a crush on Tai Mahani?
No, but Ty Miami, that's what I call him, because he had... Yes, because he was such a hammy. No, at the beginning when you introduced to him, it sounded kind of hammy, but like I said, he was having a lot of fun with that performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the character was also having a lot of fun with his other classmate, Shinomiya, to which I think Ben did a pretty good job to the point I wanted to punch actually I wanted to kick Shinomiya right in the teeth.
Yeah.
He is an asshole.
It's not like he's not familiar with pissing off other chefs.
Yeah, especially after what he did with the test and then with Megumi. I'm like, why the fuck would you sabotage a test on purpose?
Yeah, that's
You douchebag.
like the way it's set up. Like he explains it as, oh, I did that because people who didn't rush to get the ingredients right away aren't cut out for the kitchen. But they were getting 7 different ingredients. There's probably a guarantee that you can't grab all 7 of them at once. You're gonna be late to get one of them.
I'm sorry, the most bullshit part, though, is failing Megumi only because she just altered the recipe. Just because she wanted to get the cauliflower in there, she wanted to preserve the coloring of it.
Right.
And the thing is, I can understand both perspectives, because I do completely understand Megumi's amazing in this, but at the same time, like, this is a chef that he's been failing for a while because he was viewed as an outsider, and he had to stick extremely close to his resets, and he only chose people who would follow him no matter what and follow his orders.
Yeah, but
there is a story that's going on there too.
That does not excuse students who are obviously not trying to sabotage your restaurant. I'm with Jamal.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't excuse what he does. It's just, I understand.
There's a reason behind it. Anyway, Jamal.
But no, Jamal, did you have any comments on Allison?
Allison, I really like the 3 because for as much spunk she has, she's totes adorbs, and I thought This is the only time you're ever gonna hear me say that on a podcast, audience. But yeah, she was adorable. Yeah, she was so cute, and I just wanted to see more, and I kind of felt bad every time she gets slapped upside the head by Shinomiya.
It's a comedic, grabs her head and lifts her off the ground.
What is this, grip?
All right, we're 2 for 4 here for mostly positive comments. Zenith, are you going to break up that streak we got going on?
I loved all 3 of these guys. I agree that Shinomiya was a bit unorthodox casting. At first, when he first started talking, I'm like, this is a different choice. But I think as the episode and that part of the arc went on, I'm like, oh, he really does a great job, and they chose it for a particular reason. I'm interested to see how he's going to present the more human aspects of the character, because they chose a much more human voice instead of making him the Japanese, which was very much, all right, let's bring out that shitbag persona.
A Saturday morning cartoon villain, almost.
Yeah, and the anime definitely did in the Japanese, they did grow with the character. I'm wondering how this is going to grow, but I think he did a fantastic job. I think Gin did an amazing job. I think he's a standout of the 3.
Yeah. And best boy. I'm sorry.
In more ways than one.
Yes, I also agree that I forget her name, but the Japanese mist lady did a fantastic job as well, because she's cute, and I loved her in both dubs.
That's a good. Thank you. I'm glad you brought up the comparison about the Japanese for Benjamin, because the archetypes that they have in Japan don't always transfer over into English, so they kind of had to change Kojiro's portrayal, or else they would make him like a Megumi has failed the test all according to my plan sort of portrayal.
Yeah, I think it needed to happen, because this is a show that is heavily Japanese influenced, but in order to bring it over here, you have to really make it accessible, and they did it by changing a lot of the dub cast, for better or for worse, but I think a lot of it is for the better.
Yeah, I had no problems with these 3 characters either. We could probably talk a little bit more later about this is a very Japanese show, because honestly, I think that you could easily translate the writing into almost any language, because half the appeal of the show is going to be if you like cooking, and for someone like me who loves cooking, those first 2 episodes didn't bug me as much, because you had 2 amazing dishes described to you to kind of hook you in, tide you over until the main character showed up. All right, we have passed the first course, everyone. Give ourselves a round of applause.
Woo!
Only 20 more courses to go.
Yeah, let's get this show on the road, guys.
All right. So, now that we're all we're fired up, let's move on to some manly characters. We get some manly, rip the short hair on the chest, got manly characters.
Oh, God,
Are we talking about All Might?
Almost.
No.
Almost like All Might. He's not All Might, he's almost Might.
I mean, we could be talking about All for One, but...
Interesting you say that. It's interesting you say that.
No, One for All. That's the name. One for All, not All for One.
No. I'll explain the comparison later. But talking about manly characters in Food Wars, it's not just the cutesy shonen-y characters we've got. We've also got some butch manly characters, and those are Senzaemon Nakiri. I'm sorry, I am terrible with pronunciations. I'll work on that tonight. But he is the loses his shirt when he tastes something amazing, bearded grandfather, head of Totsuki Academy. He is like a living statue of manliness.
I'm sorry, that whole...
Also head of the food mafia. Mafia.
I'm sorry, I love that the whole disrobing thing whenever he tastes something delicious is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It's the funniest shit.
A little bit of man service for you.
It's great.
And we have no all 4 of us, we have no qualms with that, right?
No.
I didn't hear it from Jamal, so I'm gonna just...
Whoops!
Anyways, and in talking about manly father characters, we also have Yukihiro Soma's father, Joichiro, who is the owner of the little diner that he and his son run together. He shows up in episode 1, and we don't see him return again until episode 15, but his role in sending his son to the school is very important, and he was basically the entire inspiration for Soma to become the chef he is. He was someone for Soma to aspire to become better than. Now, when you get the manliest of manly characters in a Sentai Filmworks dub, there's only a few that you can go to. Of course, Senzaemon has to be voiced by John Swasey, who is so manly that I don't even know if he requires an introduction. But
oh boy.
I will. To give you an idea, some of his manliest roles include, he is Zuroku in House and Zuroku. He was Gasback in the Trigun movie, Badlands.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
I haven't seen the movie. Okay.
I have.
Well, if you see the character design, you'll instantly think, oh, I can see John's voice coming out of that character.
Now that you say it, I have seen the character design, and it makes sense.
He's also a character very similar to the one in Food Wars. He's also Goiza Baru, aka the dad in My Bride is a Mermaid. And probably his most iconic role as the manliest of the manly is Kumotetsu in The Boy and the Beast. But
and you forget the comparison that I was trying to make a second ago with the All Might thing. He's in My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
He is. But is he the Chris Sabat character?
No.
No, he is one for all.
Yeah, he is the opposite.
He's
manly,
the villain.
the
No, I'm
opposite.
just saying, like, because the whole All Might thing got brought up, and that's why I was making that comparison. But carry on.
That makes sense.
Yes. So, on top of that, we also have a character who you may not immediately pick as manly, but, well, he certainly pulls it off in this show. We have Jay Hickman playing the dad himself. We have, this is a guy who's been around for quite a while, since the ADV days. To give you some of his more manly roles, he's played Muto in Princess Tutu. And
I was hoping you would say that. I was hoping you would.
the manliest of the manly characters in that show.
Because only real men watch Princess Tutu, everyone.
Real men watch Princess Tutu.
Keeping it alive.
Buy our t-shirt. Okay, some other manly roles. He's the fool in Kaleido Star. He's Krusty in Log Horizon. And here's one that Lilac probably remembers. He's Shiro in Parasite.
I haven't finished Parasite.
Oh, well, when you get to that role, now you know.
Yeah, I'll know it when I see it eventually.
Okay. All right, so as far as testosterone fuels manly people in our cast go, Zenith, you want to tell us about what you think of these characters?
I think they both did a great job. Joichiro was a little bit of unorthodox casting, I think, but it really worked. But I think a lot of it is it's better when you get to episode 15 and you actually get to, sit with him and learn more about him. Mm-hmm. In that first couple episodes, I think he does a good job, but I think it's something that really grows later. But I think Senzaemon is fantastic. Again, a lot of this is unorthodox casting stuff that I wouldn't really see in the role. But they did it to make the show stand out, and I think it really works.
Nice. So yeah, it's like kind of archetypal casting that just really works out, right?
Yes.
Nice. Jamal, did you have? I know you particularly. You actually you pleaded with me to include Senzaemon in this because of reasons. Do you want to explain that to everyone?
Yeah. So pretty much as they said, you could the first 2 episodes were kind of world building and stuff, and then there's the 3rd episode. But really, what made the difference between episodes 2 and 3 is Soma actually kind of got expelled from Erina, who after tasting her dish in the cooking competition, she just pretty much lied and said that it tasted like crap, and just kicked her out of the school. Then in a kind of a post-credit scene, you see Senzaemon come out of the darkness, just taste Soma's dish, and then sneakily behind her back, decides to invite Soma into the school proper.
Which, he's allowed to because he owns the damn place.
Exactly. Pretty much setting off a chain of events between Soma and Erina and a lot of the other characters, whereas if that didn't happen, we would not have a show at all, really.
We'd have a very different show if he never got in.
Yeah, so since I'm on, I mean, like...
He never got in, that would have been gamers.
Oh,
God. I'm still bitter, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So what did you think about John Swasey, though?
Well, like y'all said, John Swasey is manly man. He's pretty much the manly man of Sentai, if you think about it.
He is so manly, he actually jumps between both Dallas and Houston just to fill the manly quota between the two.
Yeah. And, Joichiro, it was kind of unorthodox to put Jay Hickman, because I was hoping it'd be David Wall, because it literally looked like a David Wall character to me. But
it's okay. David Wald is one of those chefs from the training camp, and it's glorious, by the way.
Yes.
He is.
Let's just say...
Who also becomes a Sailor Moon ripoff character at one point.
No, yes, he was Tuxedo Mask.
I was going to say he's hot blooded sex, but thank you for that.
Hot damn, pour some pancakes on those abs.
Yes.
Oh, funny you mentioned that when we get to the next set of characters. but
yeah, hold on to that syrup. We're gonna need it.
Well, it's something else, but yes. Yeah, so Jay Hickman did a pretty good job for what we've seen of the dad. You know, he's pretty much stoic and doing his own thing, but...
All right.
Yeah.
Lilac, as the robust connoisseur of manly characters, do you have any problems? Because we seem to have nothing but praise. Give us some, criticism. Yeah, something to bash against.
You're actually gonna get it in a second. But John Swasey first. I was... that end credit scene in episode 3.
Yeah.
Where he tries Soma's dish. The second he laughed his ass off and disrobed, I was sold. I'm like, this is perfect. John Swasey's generally amazing in everything he does. It's awesome. And the few times we got to see him, the director of the Academy, speak and do some fun stuff, it's very few and far between. However, I think John Swasey is amazing. I'm going to agree that Jay Hickman as Soma's dad is definitely unorthodox casting. This is not what I would have imagined. And right now, it's not that memorable to me.
Well, because he's not in the show that much, so...
Well, even then, one episode characters can leave an impression.
It gets better later on. It does. It's one of those things where a lot of the show kind of grows.
I know episode 15...
We'll worry about that bridge when we come to it.
I know episode 15, we do get to see him come back again. But that episode, at least when we're recording this...
Unfortunately, it won't come out until after this episode airs.
Because we're broke individuals who couldn't afford the box set yet.
Anyways, it's a mix of... It's not that the character itself wasn't memorable, because of course he's a memorable character for certain reasons. But the performance as of right now, I don't think was that stand out to me. I want to see where it grows when episode 15 comes out and where it kind of just goes from there, but it's not that memorable to me. So I flat out love John Swasey, but Jay Hickman as of right now is not memorable.
And that may have something to do with, on my own thoughts, just the first episode syndrome, where the first episode of any dub is always going to be shaky, regardless of how
the problem is we also have flashbacks after that. Still not memorable.
I'm going to not entirely agree with you, because he has to fill a particular role. He has to be a supportive character who also kind of treats his son like his best friend, and I buy that part of the relationship.
But you would think it'd be a nice impact, right? But it just, to me, it's not a memorable performance right now.
Now, did you expect it to be like a lower pitched voice, or like more gruff exactly?
I think that was probably my initial thought, and I do like where it was going, the direction they took with it. But compared to some of these other performances, that's the problem. That's where the problem lies here. Some of these other performances can be amazing and stand out. It's just right now, I just need a little bit more from Jay Hickman. That's my problem.
We'll call Jay Hickman and we'll ask him to scoop up a little more for you in future episodes.
I mean, obviously it's too late since the entire first season's on home video.
I think you need a second helping.
Mm-hmm. You mean like a second plate? Can I get a second plate?
Yeah, a second plate will help that out.
Okay.
Right.
Hopefully.
Well, let's move on to that second plate. So have we finished it? Let's scoot on to the third plate, actually, where we're going to get into what's known as the Polar Star Dormitory. And this is...
Yay!
Segue! I don't
So
know.
I'm excited. I'm excited for these.
I've always wanted a segue, honestly. Like, I've lived too far away from work to use it, but, just to have it.
Long
around
segue.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. With a UE, not a WAE. Thank you. So, in the Polar Star Dormitory, this is where Yukihiro Soma lives while he's at Totsuki Academy, and where the main chunk of characters who are most important to the development of the series also live. Two of those characters we're going to talk about are Satoshi Ishiki.
Yes!
You know who he is already, because, like I said, you've seen GIFs of this show. This is one of them. My quotation marks on this guy says, "Put some pants on."
Yes, please.
That's the best way to describe his character, really.
He is so memorable in a bare apron that is actually one of the items that they gave away with the limited edition box set.
Yeah.
And also with the loot crate from a while ago.
Is that memorable? But more importantly, he is the 7th of the Elite 10 at Totsuki Academy. So he's not just a goofy eye candy for the girls. He is also a renowned chef on his own right.
So he's the naked chef.
Well, you have to be entirely naked, but yeah, let's give him the almost naked chef title. But what would a naked chef be like without a dorm mom? We have Fumio Daimito, who is the elderly woman who acts as the dorm mom of Polar Star Dormitory, because we need at least one adult supervising these crazy chefs in their downtime. And these two characters are voiced by... Satoshi is voiced by everyone's favorite of the Bee Gees, Scott Gibbs. Little joke for the older audience there. And Fumio is voiced by Joanne Bonasso. Now, these two actors, Scott Gibbs has been around for quite a while, actually, and has got some pretty notable titles under his belt, including Sora in No Game, No Life. He is Alex in Umaru-chan. He's David in Chiaki, the Coffin Princess, and he is Mikoto in Nozaki-kun. So, good.
Mikoshiba! Mikorin! Mikorin!
I'm getting the impression I need to watch Nozaki-kun at some point.
Yeah.
Yes!
And on top of... Okay, now switching things over to Joanne for a bit. Well, her roles are actually a little different. She voices Susanna in Dog X Scissors, which is everyone's favorite show.
I've never seen that show.
Me neither.
And you never should. And she
Good.
is the wand Magical Ruby in... I'm gonna get this right. Fate Calliope Linear Prisma Ilia.
That Moe Fate series.
That one magical girl.
That one Moe Fate
with the
series.
Fate characters. And she's also Yuzuka in Nozaki-kun. So again, a bit of a mix of roles in there. So, Zenith, what do you think about these two characters who are in the Polar Star Dormitory?
First of all, I want to say that Scott Gibbs is perfect.
I knew you were gonna say that.
He embodies the role so well. I think from the moment I first heard it, I was just like, okay, I'm sold by this performance. I think he did a great job. I think Fumio was a little bit different. I much prefer the Japanese to this. I don't think it's a bad performance, but I definitely think a lot of it was kind of strained. I think they played up too much of the old woman angle to the character. I think it was a little bit more human in the Japanese, but I think they did she's not in the show enough to really cause a problem. I think it was all right, but overall, Scott Gibbs is the clear standout of the two.
Well, I'm sure he stands out for more reasons than one.
Plus, his
God
naked
damn it.
apron is the best. I love it. Ishiki's one of my favorite characters, and I think they did him justice with that.
That would be a very difficult cosplay to pull off, because I'd imagine con rules would not let you go around butt
Lilac.
naked.
Not unless you wear a
Lilac.
beige bodysuit and an
Lilac.
apron.
A bodysuit would work out, but Lilac, I saw a woman going around at my first ASEN dressed in caution tape. And
Yeah,
only
you can
caution
pull
tape.
it off. I've
But
seen
it's not
people
butt
cosplay.
naked, though.
I've seen people cosplay as nudist beach characters.
But it's not bare-ass naked, though. There's a difference between the characters of Nudist Beach and someone, like, wrapping themselves up like a mummy in caution tape with just bare ass and a goddamn apron on. There's a difference, guys.
Lilac, do you have a problem with Scott Gibbs' performance? Is that
I do not. I do not have an issue. Legitimately, I do not have an issue. Because my thing is with Scott Gibbs, I prefer him more in comedies. Dramas can be iffy depending on what you're looking at. Comedies, he's phenomenal in comedies, and I love him here as Ishiki. Ishiki has always been one of my favorite characters of the series, and I think Scott Gibbs is phenomenal. It's actually kind of funny, like, there were moments in the show where I could kind of hear twinges of, like, maybe a vocal register similar to Eric Vale's, actually, which is kind of amusing.
That is.
Yeah, it's an interesting comparison. It was, like, a couple little moments, and I'm like, that sounds like it could be Eric Vale for, like, a split second there. But,
well, I find it interesting you say that, because I heard the voice, and I heard another Funimation voice actor, too, but it wasn't Eric Vale. I heard Sonny Strait in his performance.
No, I didn't hear Sonny.
Interesting.
I didn't hear Sonny.
Well, in the goofier moments, but, okay.
No, even then. But yeah, I've always preferred Scott Gibbs in comedies, and this is no exception here. And even with some of the moments where he has been, like, more serious and dramatic, they weren't my favorite moments, but he still pulled them off, and it was really good. I think it's a solid performance all around. As for Joanne Bonasso, I think this is the first time I've actually heard her play an old woman character before.
Okay.
Because I've predominantly seen her in Nozaki-kun and small clips of Chaika. But, I actually really enjoyed her as Fumio. I think she brings some energy to the character, too, even though this is an older woman. And I also find it funny with that little flashback scene of when she was a little girl.
Yeah.
That was the best.
The original.
That was the best. Because that is also Joanne. They didn't go with someone else. And I thought...
And they did in the Japanese. They got a different actress to play the younger version.
Yeah, Joanne played the younger version. I could tell right away. But I enjoyed her as Fumio a lot. She has a fun energy about her. She can be strict at the same time, but I will agree with Zenith on the fact that Ishiki is the stand-up between the two, but I will disagree with Fumio not working, because I did enjoy Joanne Bonasso as Fumio. But Ishiki... He's a good boy.
Dialogue.
He's a good boy. Scott Gibbs is a good boy, which, by the way, no relation to Adam Gibbs, so let's not get that mixed up. Scott Gibbs is a good boy. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
But he is related to the brothers Gibbs from the Bee Gees, right?
No.
I doubt that. Nice try.
You're crushing my dreams here.
I'm sorry. I'm the killjoy, okay?
Jamal, don't crush my dreams here. Please tell me Scott Gibbs is a good boy. Tell me.
It's kind of funny how Sam says that he's perfect as Ishiki, because I remember listening to the Umaru-chan episode. A couple people were saying that he's so hot they want to crack an egg on his abs and cook it. So you know what? So you know what? Ishiki's got abs. There you go. And if you turn,
I have to stand by this because
Ishiki also has an ass.
But... Yeah, if you turn him around, he has hot cross buns. But that's besides the
point. Those buns are pretty damn hot. I'm not gonna lie.
No lie. When I was introduced to him in his first episode, I was like, "Oh God, let me cover my eyes." And then I just kept on watching after that. I didn't cover my eyes anymore. Scott Gibbs was perfect in this role. And as for Joanne as Fumio, well, besides Bonasso sounding like a vegetable, the name that is, I think Joanne was good in this role. I mean, it sounded just enough as an old woman to me, especially after the kitchen challenge where she starts flashing back. Then all of a sudden she's trying to kiss Soma. She's like, "Give me some sugar."
And he's like, "No! Stop it!
Don't make a girl say it out loud."
I almost lost my shit.
Please warm me up.
Oh. It's a good use of your older character.
He was great.
And I do appreciate that she doesn't become like a cougar throughout the show. Like, I was a little worried when the show first started that was going to be her role, but no, she sells into cool grandma character throughout the rest of the series.
Yeah, that cougar bit was just that one scene, but that was only because of a flashback. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like she, just like we said at the top of this, cooking is everything in Totsuki, and she has not lost her passion for being critical about students' cooking throughout the years.
She also hasn't lost her passion for bragging about the students at Polar Star Dormitory for being part of the Elite 10.
Yeah.
You bums.
You lazy bums.
We used to have Polar Star Dormitory people always just be part of the Elite 10. Not like you, slackers. You're just killing chickens and cutting logs and
smoking out your rooms.
Yeah.
It's not sake, it's malted rice.
That is fucking sake. The show cannot lie to me.
It's rice juice, special rice juice.
No, don't you dare fucking lie to me, show. Stop
Very
it.
well. All right, so we have, thank you, everyone. The third course was delicious. Thank you, both Scott and Joanne, for doing a really good job with these characters. So let's keep going up the Polar Star Dormitory ranks, shall we, into two characters that aren't as prominent in the first season, but get a lot more development in the autumn election of season 2. So we definitely want to see how well the English actors did this first time around. We have, and like we said, all the chefs, students in the school have like one specialty, like thing that defines their cooking style. Let's move on to Shun Ibusaki. And his thing is, first of all, he has no eyeballs because his hair is always covering his eyes. But his specialty is smoked dishes. So we always see him with a chainsaw cutting the wood that he specifically grows or prepares in such a way that when you smoke it, it cooks up the food that he's making up very well. He is the Prince of Smoke.
He also got yelled at for smoking out his room.
Yes.
It was great.
You can't say it wasn't nicotine, but yeah.
Reminds me of college.
Oh my god.
What college
I
did you
don't
go
think
to?
to that extent, but okay.
And now, speaking of someone who wants to kick you out of his room, we also have Zenji Maru.
Poor
And
Zenji.
I feel
Poor Zenji.
I feel bad for that guy. I mean, what?
Get out of my room. Why do you have the party in my room?
Guy gets his room trashed and he has to marathon the hellish training camp 3 days straight.
He keeps letting it happen to him. He doesn't have the balls to kick them out.
Oh my god. No, he gets pissed and then just ends up in part of the competition, whether it's a card game or something, then passes the fuck out.
Yeah.
It's
2
He
hours.
just goes along with it by accident.
2 minutes and
Well, that's
51 seconds in. That was a new record.
You're
And more-
right.
We should note that his role in the show is not just to be the guy whose room everyone groups in. He's also proven to be very meticulous in studying, and so he gets, I forget what the exact title is in the autumn election, but he's renowned for his intensive knowledge of cooking. Like, he studies very fervently, and so he makes amazing dishes, which is why he's been able to survive this long, even with everyone trying to take over his room. These characters are voiced by, Shun is voiced by Houston Hayes, and Zenji is, it's just perfect casting here. Everyone's favorite whipping boy, Greg Ayers.
Yay!
Meow.
I think in my predictions I actually had Greg here. So I'm like, yes!
Yes. So yeah,
It's
so
beautiful.
I'm actually not even sure, I didn't even write down roles that Greg has been in for other shows.
Good
because
job! You're prepared
Smooth.
today.
I don't have to. Here's why I can go look at my shelf and see, okay, Greg was the lead in these roles. Okay, he is the lead in Beck Mongolian Chop Squad. He is the lead in Dead Man Wonderland. He's basically the nasally, high-pitched character who we love in all shows. Like, he's the otaku geek person in Welcome to the NHK. Like, he's actually been jumping between Houston and Dallas for basically his entire career.
Yeah.
Now, Houston Hayes is a little interesting, though, because that's a name that I did not recognize when we first got here, when we first started up.
What? When we first got here.
When we first got to this, yeah, we're in a recording studio together, people. We have the Dub Talk
Yes.
Productions, like, I don't know.
Surprise! We made it official.
Yeah, we're all living in the same town now.
I wish.
One day. But, okay, so what Houston has been in the past is, he is Miroku Fujima in Beyond the Boundary. He's Tadashi in Tamako Market. One that I'm sure Lilac's also going to love. He's Shin in Amnesia.
No.
And he is Dosetsu in Haikendo. There's a long subtitle to that. I'm trying to pronounce this right. Haikendo. I cannot pronounce the rest of the whole thing here. Where should I put that?
Hakuden?
No, it's Haikenden 8 Dogs of the East.
Yeah, Hakuden.
Hockey Den.
Thank you. Sorry. Like I said, people, I have an English degree for a reason. I did not get a Japanese degree. But more importantly, we need to talk about how these two characters really did. So, Jamal, tell me how both Houston and Greg did in portraying two, not exactly background characters, but not as prevalent members of the Polar Star Dormitory.
Well, essentially, I felt bad for that guy, but Greg Ayres plays him perfectly. I mean, Greg Ayres does what Greg Ayres does best, and we love him all the same for it. Shun, however, you have to refresh my memory. He's the dude with his eyes covered by his hair, right?
That's correct.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
He is the stoic guy, the stoic male character of
Yeah.
the dormitory.
Yeah, he's a pretty chill guy, and like you just see him in the end credits just tossing his key with the...
He has a thing with cups, apparently.
Yeah.
Because in the hotel room, he had a thing with cups.
Yeah,
Soma was just juggling right next to
he
him.
did, and
He's just balancing cups while he has one in his mouth. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
he did, and since he's someone I'm not familiar with, I'm starting to get used to him.
Now, what did you think about Houston's acting on that?
It was the character kind of blends to the background just a bit, but he does a very good job on him.
Okay, that's a fair enough assessment. Zenith, did Houston or Greg stand out to you at all?
First of all, I just want to say that Greg Ayres is cast perfectly.
Yes.
Oh my god.
That's exactly what I mean on my page. Perfect casting.
Like, Greg Ayres was one of the few, they're a group of characters from the moment they open their mouths. I'm like, I have nothing to say. These are perfect. Like, inside and outside of the role, like, loved this entirety. And I think it does a great job of distinguishing between him as this, frustrated student who gets exhausted all the time and all this other stuff. But also when he gets to be the professor of taste, every single point of this is perfect. And I actually think this is one of the few characters who's better than the Japanese. I like the Japanese, but like this one character, like Greg just knocks it out of the park here. I also think that as for Shun Ibusaki, yes. As for him, I unfortunately prefer a little bit more the Japanese sub, but just a little because the performance is great here. This is one of those that I think is a little bit unorthodox, and when I first heard it, I'm like, I feel like the voice could have been a little bit smoother, but overall, I think it grows after the first episode we see him, and you can't go wrong with either, so I think great performance there as well.
Now, see, I thought it was a little bit of a thankless role as it is, because he doesn't stand out as much. He doesn't have as much dialogue. His presence is mostly in the animation and just being there, and also with what he does well, which is the smokedness. I was actually a little surprised. I thought they might have given him, not a smoother voice like you thought, but a raspier voice, like someone who would actually be affected by all that smoke. So I was a little surprised that they gave him a very normal sounding voice, and
that's kind of what I was. It's not a bad voice. I do want to say that it's not a bad voice. But they gave him a little bit normal, whereas in the Japanese he was just more laid back, and he was more like, he sounded like smoke. You know?
Yeah, he definitely had like you said, a laid back voice to it.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't think it's bad. I just think it's unorthodox, and it grew on me over the course of the season.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's that's an okay trait to have, is that we don't have anything bad to say about it. If it's a character that's just okay, then I mean, take it or leave it as it is. If we're trying to recommend the show to other people to say, should you watch in the dub or the sub, it's much better to say this character is just normal and okay, rather than it's grating on my ears, and I needed to change the audio track to get through the episode. So, Lilac, do you have any thoughts on these two characters?
Well, I'm going to keep my thoughts on Greg short, sweet, and to the point. He's absolutely perfect. Zenji.
Nice.
And I feel bad for Zenji.
Yeah, we all
Zenji
do.
Poor
is
kid.
short and sweet.
Yes. Houston Hayes, on the other hand, the only other role I've actually heard Houston Hayes in as of right now, and I'm surprised you didn't bring it up, Diabolic Lovers More Blood.
No, I'm blocking that. Again, I've never seen it.
How can you block it if you've never seen it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
You make no sense to me sometimes. Anyway,
But I think so, Brain.
It's-
But if Jimmy cracked corn and no one cares, why does he keep doing it?
Noah, shut up. Noah, shut up.
Love you too.
I hate you means I love you.
So
Anyway.
Houston.
Anyway, Houston Hayes. Between Shun here and then his character in Diabolic Love for Blood, I actually prefer his character here compared to that show.
Really?
To be fair, I also had no idea who Houston Hayes was at the time. And now that I'm getting to know... excuse me. And now that I'm kind of getting to know his range a little bit too, because he was actually recently announced for another Sentai dub, and as the lead, as a matter of fact, but we're not talking about it, and I have seen some clips for it. It's very interesting, and I think even then I might prefer him here as Shun compared to that show, but that's a story for another day. And, like, I get what you're saying, that you were hoping maybe for some, like, rasp or, like, sounding like smoke kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that Houston played him as a rather laid-back guy. Kind of laid-back, but more on the quiet side. Which Shun's character is, again, relatively quiet. He doesn't really say or do much.
Yeah.
And I think Houston was able to portray that very well. So I do like Houston. I just really hope to see more of his character grow, especially because in the fall selection arc, he does become a bit more prominent. So I'm very excited to actually see him get a chance to like show his stuff in a way.
Very good. And yeah, we will definitely get to see more of that. So, all right, we have passed Smoke and Get Out of My Room, and now we should probably move on to the what were we on, like the 5th course now? I lost track somewhere down the road. Let's have an appetizer, shall we?
We're
And
going
on
with
this
ladies.
We're going to have the ladies of the Polar Star Dormitory here, and for these two we have Yuki Yoshino, who is, in my notes, a lost member of Silver Spoon, because she loves growing wildlife. That is particularly, she's trying to breed a variety of chicken that is the best in the world.
I mean, you're not wrong. She could be a Silver Spoon character.
She really could. I think she escaped out of that show and wandered into this one instead. But of course we need to balance her out with a different kind of someone who grows something, and that is Ryoko Sakaki, who, as we alluded to earlier, likes to make up, in quotation marks, special rice juice.
Oh, for fuck's sake. That is not juice. That is not juice. Though it does make for a nice...
And they note, in the Japanese, they note that it is still juice. And I'm like,
yeah.
It's not an American thing. I'm just like, but we know they're having sake. It's rice wine.
Though it
At
does,
the very least, it's
make for a nice aperitif.
No, again, you can't fool me, show.
It's
Because the show in subtitles is like, this is juice.
Yeah.
This is juice. You can't fool me, show.
Well, I was
No, you can't.
I thought what they're gonna do is, you know how in at least in the High Dive release, they have like little pop-up texts that describe some of the food or the Japanese terminology for the American viewers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were going to like pop up and say, fermented rice juice is also known as sake.
Yeah.
No, they went with what the Japanese subtitle had on the screen. This is juice. This is actually juice.
Fine. Don't teach the kids to drink. I get it.
Since we've had a nice aperitif, why don't we get right to the course then? Who are voicing these actors?
I love your powers of segues. You, sir, you get a free, what am I giving away? You get a pancake. Speaking of fluffy goodness, the voice of Yuki is And I don't even have to introduce her roles to you. Lucy Christian!
Ta-da!
Yeah, she has been in everything, and then some. And to top that off, we also, for the voice of Ryoko, have a lesser-known Sentai voice actress, Kelly Peters. Now, for Lucy Christian, like I said, if you've seen any anime in the past few years, you have heard a Lucy Christian role before. She has, just to name some roles that are similar to her role, to her voice acting in this, she was Kirino in Bamboo Blade, she's Tenma in School Rumble, she's Ron in Super Gals, and most prominently in this year, she played Ochoko in My Hero Academia. And Kelly, though, like I said, she has enough roles that you could count on your two hands. But I'm going to skip over one of them that we're going to talk about later, but she was also the character of Row 2 in Log Horizon, and she's a bunch of different characters in Nozaki-kun. And that's about it for Kelly. So, we should probably knock it out of the way here. How many of us love Lucy Christian in this role? Let's see a show of hands.
Kind of hard to show you hands, but
No, I can see it through the microphone.
yeah, totally.
I loved it, and I loved it. I've been watching Ouran High School Host Club, so the entire time I'm just like, oh my god, Honey Senpai is in the dorm. I love this.
Let's say because you've never seen Oran before now, right?
Yeah, I'm officially halfway through. I've been watching with a friend.
Good.
Didn't we show you that back at Youmacon last year?
I think you showed me like the first few episodes.
Probably.
Okay.
But yeah, like I've been watching it, and yeah, this is another one that I thought from the very beginning it's perfect. Honey Senpai works perfectly in the dorm. I think the other one does a fantastic job as well. I didn't have any complaints. I think you can't go wrong with either the Japanese or the dub in this case. Both perfect casting, no problems.
Yeah, I have to say I enjoyed Lucy. I think the moment that really, really sold it for me was the first night that Soma was in the dorm, and they're having that party. And then they're basically fighting with each other, and then she gets insulted about her goddamn game. She's like, people just don't understand the ways of my methods. Give me an hour! I was done. I'm like, yep, Lucy's perfect.
Like when she like flips her shit and she's ready to go like ham and go grab something, I'm like just in general, this is such a great performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's Kelly who's the other one, right?
Kelly Peters.
Yeah.
Kelly Peters. Unfortunately, the character isn't much of a standout right now, aside from being a support system for basically Megumi, if anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time I've ever really heard or talked about Kelly Peters before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a standout. I can see the potential that's there, and I really want to see where she goes with it. Because the moments where they did have the rice juice, she was very amusing at those moments. So
yeah,
the potential is there. It's just similar to Jay Hickman. It's not a memorable performance for me right now.
Okay. Jamal, did you have a similar assessment of Kelly? Because I'm going to assume that you also had no qualms with Lucy Christian.
Well, Lucy Christian is immortal, pretty much.
She will outlive all of us.
Yes, and Kelly Peters, like Lilac says, is not as memorable. Like her voice does work for the character somewhat, but it's not really coming out at me right now. Maybe in the second half of the dub, I don't know, but only time will tell.
She does have the role of being the more maternal character, like especially after the secret Shokugeki. She's the one who's keeping her composure and has to lecture everyone on what's going on. So I like the way that Kelly portrays her. It's not a lot of times I'll have a problem with characters that are in high school are supposed to be maternal, but it's obviously voiced by like an older woman, and so it'll, like her older, and I say older, I mean like middle-aged 30, 40-year-old voice will come out, and I didn't really get that off of Kelly. Like it sounded convincing enough as a high school student who just happens to be like more mature than her coworkers.
Sounds like most of the people
classmates.
Sounds like most of the people I knew in high school, but yeah, she did a good job for what the character was worth. So
mean, like, most of the people you went to high school with were more mature, or you were the mature one?
Both.
Oh. Okay, then. Alright, so I'm getting a picture here. Jamal went to a school where everyone was mature, but they also smoked. Okay, I'm getting a picture here.
What?
I think Jamal was like a breed of like superhumans or something.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Stop
on.
assuming and let's just
Anyway,
move on.
What do we have next?
Next,
Okay,
please.
I'm glad you enjoyed your appetizer, everyone. So, now we need to move on to one of the main courses. And this is going to be trifold here, because we've moved out of the Polar Star dormitories and into the rest of the people who are classmates in Tosuki Academy. And because this is a shonen series, of course, a lot of them are going to be antagonists / have to battle against the main character at some point. Or at least that's how they start out with. The good thing about
They're
this
my
series is that
rival.
they start out
He's
rivals.
my rival. I'm pulling the Black Clover. I'm sorry. He's my rival.
Don't you bring that badness upon this house.
Too bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking black garlic when you say black cloves. But
Look, don't talk about honey and clover or whatever it's called. We'll talk about that in another episode.
anyway,
But for this
moving on.
show- I know, right? Actually, there is a manga just called Clover by Clamp, but that's not related to this at all. What is related to this, though, is we have 3 characters who are most important because they become kind of like friends to Soma later on in the series. The first of these 3 is the one who you've probably seen in some GIF forms because she has the American flag as a bra and loves her some meat. Say hello to Ikumu Mito, voiced by Rachel Landon. Next to her, we have 2 characters that are almost exclusively seen together, mostly because of the art style, because one of them has white hair, the other has black hair. Those 2 are Alice Nakiri, who is a cousin to a character we'll talk about in a bit, and is voiced by Christina Kelly. And next to her, one who is voiced by someone who many of you probably already know. This is Ryo Kurukiba, and he is voiced by, say it with me everyone,
Geraldo Anzaldúa.
Zaldua.
Thank you. I was saying, say it for me so I don't have to mispronounce his last name.
Loraldo Anzaldua.
Thank you. So, like I said, these characters are, they're fun characters because they start out antagonistic, but Soma, like, embraces them as friends almost immediately. Like, the concept of rival doesn't exist in his brain. So, Jamal, tell me, of these 3 characters, which one did you like the most?
I'd say Ikumi because, pretty much her demeanor, her flame-broiled whoppers, her...
I'm
Her
about to
skirt
say,
sta-
why am I not surprised you picked meat?
Her skirt stay... I think her rumpus looks good, but I'd stay away from her
Oh my
tender
God.
cuts because I think she's underage.
Damn it! Jamal! I love you, but God!
He knows his meat.
I said we're gonna be doing so many damn food puns, people are gonna facepalm all over the place, but Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
come on. You had to have seen this coming. Especially you,
Yeah.
Noah.
I had to have. I knew this was coming, but I didn't expect it to be this much.
You're allowed one lecherous moment in the episode. In a show with admittedly lots of wibble.
Anyway,
Wibble.
I liked her demeanor, and Rachel Landon is it took me a little time to get used to, but I did like how she portrayed the antagonistic side and the violent side, which is pretty much the same. But she really came out against Soma in the end, and it kind of worked very well. Alice, I like her playful nature, and Christina Kelly really emphasized both the spiteful and playful sides of her. I also think well, when we get to it, I'll explain. But
Did you have the same thought as I did?
we'll see. And Rio.
Don't take the lid off that one yet.
And Rio, I mean, guy loves playing with his balls, and he doesn't talk much. But from what I did hear, no,
I was drinking my orange juice, you motherfucker! I almost
gave you
spit
those
that
balls
out!
as a prop to make you more intimidating.
oh come on! I know you had seen that scene. Anyway, he doesn't talk much, but for what he does talk, I thought it was okay. It's not as memorable to me right now, but if he probably might be in the second half. I don't know yet. So
He does get more. He gets a lot more lines in the second half, or in the second season, particularly.
okay then.
Yeah. And I apologize, everyone. I forgot to point out some of the roles these characters have played in the past.
Yes,
so
you
let me
did.
insert that right now, really quickly. Rachel is she's Yuko in My Love Story. She is Ariko in Onigiri, and I don't know why this show keeps popping up, but okay. She is Yao Hao Doshi in Gate. Like, it seems like everyone in the show's been in Gate for some reason.
Well, Gate's also a recent Sentai dub, so it makes sense.
Right, but I didn't realize it had this big of a cast that everyone could fit into it.
As far as I know, if it's a reasonably sized cast, honestly.
All right. Well, what is not a reasonably sized cast is some of the shows that Christina has been in, because she hasn't been in quite as many. But if you watch recent Sentai shows, you most definitely heard her as Sylphine Fond Tachibana.
Sylphin Ford.
Thank you. I can't pronounce Italian. In Umaru-chan.
It's not even Italian. But moving on.
I don't know what that language is. It's like it's Latin of some sort.
Move on. Just move on.
It's not English. That's the point.
And she's also Mine and Akame ga Kill.
Oh boy.
But for Luraldo, he is very prominent because he's actually been voice acting for quite a while. Like, to give you an idea, one of his earlier roles, he was Emilio in Red Garden back when ADV had that one. He's Yota in Love Chinibyo Delusions, and he's JJ. No, not that JJ. JJ from Gatchaman Crowds. Completely different character.
Gigi would murder you if you were trying to say JJ from Yuri on Ice.
Well, she can murder me for this final role I'm going to mention because a lot of people are dead in this show. He is the lead character of Takashi in High School of the Dead.
Oh, Lord.
Which I can just hear Gigi right now is screaming about, I hate that show so much!
See, I know him from Hamatora, actually, as art.
See, I hadn't seen that yet. I also heard the dub wasn't very good.
Well, there were parts of it that were good, some parts of it were not so good, because the show itself is kind of to begin with.
Well,
honestly.
What did you think about this show, Lilac? For these three characters.
Luraldo's actually the only one that I've actually heard in previous stuff. Rachel and Christina, I haven't heard anything else, really.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
But Luraldo's case, Rio only has, 2 goddamn lines. It's very hard to judge off of that right now.
Yeah.
Him compared to Alice, he had, barely anything, so it's hard for me to judge his performance right now. But what I'm interested in is that, that flip of the switch that he has later on. Because Rio has a story, but essentially, when he gets cooking...
Yeah.
When he gets cooking, and because he's, like Soma, he has, a red scarf tied around his wrist. When he puts that bandana on his head, dude gets angry as shit.
Mm-hmm. He gets very
very mouthy, very ferocious and competitive, but otherwise than that, he's usually very quiet. So I'm very interested to see how he plays that later on. Rachel Landon is Mito. Where's my notes? I think she was fantastic.
Yeah.
It took a little bit of adjusting, but she kind of brings in a mix of, sexy, because she does have some of those little bits there. Sexy, but also, and this is weird to say it, kind of rugged, because she's more of the tomboy character.
Yeah, she's got a sultry, lower voice.
Rugged might not be the right word here, but she's more of the tomboy character of this show, and I think Rachel plays that wonderfully. And then Christina Kelly, I really do like her as Alice, but I feel like there's a place that she would have been better suited for.
Oh, should we keep that under wraps for right now?
We'll keep it under wraps for now, and that's all I'm going to say.
All right, put that one back in the oven until it's time to take it out. Zenith, while that's being put in the oven, let's take out your dish and take a look at what you've got for these 3 pretty important characters.
I'm pretty much in the same boat. Rio does not have enough lines in this. Yeah. Even in this entire season, he gets so much more in season 2. Mm-hmm. Granted, a lot of what he does is, in the second half of this season, which is where he has that second personality, and I feel that's where his actual personality lies, so you can't really judge it I think he does a much better job later on when he brings out that second personality, but you don't get enough here.
So yeah, again, like, you're the only person who's seen the entire first season of the dub. Like, the rest of us are like, we're just waiting for High Dive to put more on there. Just, again, to remind people, 3 out of the 4 of us haven't seen the entire dub. Zenith is the only one who has seen the first season of the dub.
Yes, and I do have to say that when he brings out his actual personality, it's fantastic.
I'm excited now that you say that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Alice is one of those cases where I feel it was an unorthodox casting. It grew on me as time went on, but I think for the opening bits, I was still kind of iffy. It gets better, and I think a lot of it happens when she actually has more to do. She really doesn't have a lot to do, aside from, like, talk shit in this opening
She
bit.
talks a lot of smack.
Dude, did you see that egg dish she made? That is nothing to talk shit about. That is bombshell stuff.
I know,
That is-
right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, but other than that, like, honestly, she doesn't have enough to do in this first bit. She has much, much more in the tournament, and that's where she starts to stand out a little bit more. But I think overall, the voice is a little bit too unorthodox sometimes. I think it would work better as another character. And as for Mito, this was another unorthodox one that I really loved, because, like, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, they're playing up the sexiness, and then I'm like, oh, this really, really works, especially when she has her quiet moments, especially when she changes and becomes much more of a person who's kind of in love with Soma, and I
Yeah.
think that really works because she played up that angle. Especially, what I really loved was that flashback when she was doing her meat piano, and then she flashbacks to her childhood.
Yeah.
Like, she has some of the best moments, I think, in season 1 that you guys have seen in the dub, because, like, she really changes and grows, and I think a lot of the voice acting really helps it in the dub.
It definitely does. Yeah, I would not have changed this casting choice, I don't think. Especially because we needed someone who was supposed to be not the kind of sexy that's like Tihi Moe. It's very mature, you know. It's like almost intimidating sexuality. But the one I had a little problem with actually was Alice's voice actress, Christina, and it's not because I thought she wasn't good or because I would have put her in like a different spot. It's because, okay, Alice has 2 different personalities. Like, even in the art style, she's got the very snobbish, I am better than you because I study gastrology cooking. But then she has like the moified chibi version of her that's like all frazzled and like her cheeks get all puffed out. That's the version that I think Christina handled the best. And that happens back and forth throughout the series. But in the more serious moments, it just comes off as a tiny bit too snobbish. But that's probably just because that's how the character herself was written. Like, there's instances in the show where you cannot make the characters any more likable because they're just not written to be very likable. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on Alice. And but again, I think that she's gonna probably have a lot of I have no problems with Christina's acting on it. In fact, she has a lot of really great comedic timing. So I'm glad that she's portraying the character as is. I guess I just wish she was better written in the show itself. But hey, she made white asparagus edible. That is a magic power in and of itself.
Huzzah!
Nice. All right.
'Cause asparagus, y'all.
Have you had white asparagus?
I've never had white asparagus before, actually.
None of you? Okay,
I've had regular asparagus, but I've never had white asparagus.
it has to be prepared in a specific way, and it's not easy to do.
Oh, I imagine.
So, okay, that was dish number 20. Shall we move on to dish number 25?
Let's move on to dish number 6,000. Let's
All
go.
right. So we
so
have.
many dishes.
I'm still hungry. Although I was wondering while watching the show, these characters are eating all the time. How are they all not like 6 feet wide?
Have you seen how much they're
mean,
on their feet daily?
hold
That's
on.
an exercise in and of itself.
Noah, you can't say all of them don't end up as 6 feet wide.
Is there a character I'm forgetting about who is a bit larger than the others?
Mm-hmm.
You might be.
Is it one that we're supposed to be talking about next?
I believe so.
Oh, you're right. Thank you,
Ta-da!
Lilac. Segway powers activate.
We are master of segues. We don't need Andrew here. Fuck Andrew. Fuck Andrew. No, we love you, Andrew. I'm sorry.
We do. But what I love more than Andrew is I love Italy. Because Italy has some of the greatest cooking possible. In fact, I just recently learned how to use balsamic vinegar to make meat dishes even more delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Buon appetito.
Yeah, Jamal knows what I'm talking about. So, from Italy, we have our next two characters, and these two are really prominent in that one of them thinks of themselves as the main opponent of Soma.
I'm sorry, he's funny.
But well, he's a good enough character as is that we like having her around. It is Takumi Aldini and Isami Aldini, two brothers from Italy whose father sends them to Japan, to Totsuki Academy, to better themselves so that they can take over the Aldini restaurant in Italy one day.
Yeah, similarly to Soma wanted to take over his dad's restaurant, he's been working in the restaurant. The Aldini brothers have worked in their dad's restaurant. So basically, Takumi gets offended during the opening ceremony when Soma is like, yeah, none of you understand working in front of customers. Takumi apparently took big offense to that.
Yeah, I have no desire to lose to a bunch of amateurs who've never even worked in front of a customer before.
Yes.
And Takumi's like,
Takumi's
bitch,
offended.
Bitch,
He's like, this is my rival. You're my rival, damn it. Fight me, Soma. And then he's like, the next time we meet, it's on. And then like 2 seconds later on the bus going back, and he's just like, shut up.
So chummy.
So
these two
adorable.
characters are voiced by a mix of both old and new talent. For Takumi, we have Bryson Baugus, who is doesn't have as many roles to his name, but a couple of big ones are he's Bell in Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? He's
Danmachi.
I should just call it Danmachi, shouldn't I?
Makes it shorter, yeah.
He's Gel Sadra in Gatchaman Crow's Insight, and he's Kimihito in Monster Musume. So, a couple
Spoilers!
of more recent ones. Like, I don't care. This food's all getting spoiled.
Fuck it! We'll do it live!
More prominently than Bryson, though, the voice of Isami is one that all you fine folks who know Sentai actors know.
Yeah.
I call bullshit!
It's Clint Bickham!
Bullshit! Bull fucking shit, that is not Clint Bickham! You're a lying sack of shit!
Well,
No, Sentai, you're a lying sack of shit. I shouldn't blame this on no one. Sentai's a lying sack of shit. This is not Clint Bickham. What the fuck?
Are you? You sound a little unconvinced there.
No. Just keep going. We'll get to that in a second.
I guess. Well, I mean, I thought it was Clint Bickham, the same Clint Bickham who is Yoshifumi Aiko in Kokoro Connect, who is Haru in Suritama, who is Renji in EF Telememories. But the one that I know him most for is he plays the lead character Horo. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. In a little-known show that all you need to go watch called Magikano, which nobody remembers, but is amazing, I promise you, and he's amazing as the lead male in that show.
See, I know him as the main lead, Aki from Beyond the Boundary. He's amazing.
Right, I need to.
That's the best. That's the best role in my opinion that he has.
I only know him more as a scriptwriter, so.
Fair.
That's true. He pulls double duty.
A lot.
So, Jamal, what did you think of Bryson and not Clint Bickham?
Well, it's funny you mentioned not Clint Bickham because I thought Takumi was Clint Bickham.
I for a minute there when I was starting the show again, I'm like, fuck, which brother is the right one? I don't know. Like, either way, I would have called bullshit whether it was Clint or Bryson, but I was just like, which is the right one?
They're both.
And it's funny because I'm not used to Clint's voice, so when I hear him in the dub, I'm like, oh, okay, he's Takumi. I go look at the credits, he's the fat one. I'm like, bullshit.
You too. You call bullshit too.
Yeah, because the thing about it is, with Clint, I don't know, I guess it's kind of like I want to say a Little Witch Academia or Kiss If Not Me situation where it sounded like they were trying to use a fat guy voice or something, to the point that there was, like I said, there was no way that was Clint Bickham. But at the same time, I did not really find myself offensive, because when you hear a fat guy talk, you don't hear a fat guy talk really, really like that, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Especially if you compare it to the voice they use in the Japanese, which is pretty similar to the English voice.
Yeah. And Takumi was pretty good, I mean. But it's kind of hard to... I didn't listen to him in the Japanese, but I would imagine it's kind of hard to compare to the Japanese.
Well, the Japanese... here's the thing. I thought the Japanese would actually get, like, an Italian who could speak Japanese, just to try to go for, like, a convincing cross-nation character, but...
Oh, God, no. That'd be too much effort. That'd be too much effort.
There's a lot of instances...
Let's face it.
Like, I didn't mention this before, but Alice is actually half Danish, so there's quite a few instances where... So a lot of...
Oh, wait, that's German.
That is German.
Yeah, wrong East European nation. West German. I need to brush on my geography, I'm sorry. But I'm sorry.
It's Eastern.
But you were saying about Bryson, you're saying what about it, Jamal?
I thought it was pretty good. I would imagine it'd be difficult to compare it to the Japanese, especially who plays him in Japanese.
I forget who plays him in Japanese.
Who is it again? It's been a while since I watched the Japanese.
Natsuki Hanai.
Natsuki Hayano?
Yeah.
Oh! You make a valid point.
But then again, I haven't listened to the whole thing in sub, so I can't really talk, you know?
Right.
Yeah, Natsuki Hayano, that's Kaneki, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kaneki or Noah, you would remember he is Kosei in Your Lie in April.
Okay. That's a very different personality.
Yep.
But I personally have no problems with Bryson's portrayal here. I'm actually looking forward to him in quite a few shows that he's done recently that just recently came out, which, again, we won't spoil what those are, but...
We already spoiled one of them. It's too late.
I don't know what you're talking about. La 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 la.
I'm not listening.
He's got a really good not really annoying shonen lead kind of voice, which I thought they would maybe do something to, like, they would give like a ridiculous Italian accent or
I'm glad they didn't go that route.
No.
It's interesting you say that, because there are quite a few instances where some of the characters do have some of the one-shot characters have really bad accents. Like, we'll talk about some of the quote-unquote country characters who have, like, a southern drawl accent to them.
Ooh, that bugged me.
It bugged me a lot, too.
However, at the same time, John Dramillion as Mr. Chappelle, mwah, beautiful. French accent, beautiful.
Yeah, and it's funny because on my list of predictions I had them as John Swayze. So
that's great, actually.
I mean, that could have worked, I guess.
Anyways,
could have, should have, would have, but it didn't. So
all right. So yeah, like I said, Bryson's good. Clint is good too. I love the balancing act they have with each other, not just in the original writing, but their voices that balance each other out good. And I can just see them both cosplaying as the Elric brothers from FMA, and Clinton's to be like, "Big brother, please don't get upset about being so short."
Oh my god,
like
that'd be the best ever.
Yeah, just like do his best Aaron Dismuke impression.
Oh my god.
So okay, so yeah, I have no problems with them. Lilac, so what do you think about not Clint? Definitely hell no, fuck no, not Clint Bickham.
I have a contender for voice acting Black Magic. That's what I think. Oh my god. When, again, it took me a minute. I was like, which brother is which again? And then once I figured that out, and they said, and they gave names at that point, I'm like, that is not Clint Bickham. No, wait, what? Like, I didn't believe it, and that's why I'm like, bullshit. It's so different.
You thought it was Isami, but it was I, Clint.
Oh, it was so different than I've ever heard Clint portray before, and I find it really enjoyable. It's because I find it interesting, Jamal, that you brought up the "kiss him, not me" argument with the whole more larger, heavy-set characters, and Isami here. It's a mixed bag, because with the Kiss 'em Not Me argument, we had the whole issue of them sounding like Sorinuma, in the Japanese sounding more like a whale, and then in the English with Genie Torado making it actually sound like a legit larger woman rather than a whale. There were moments with Clint where, unfortunately, it was the opposite, where occasionally it might sound like a whale.
More like he ate a whale.
Maybe. But there were also some cute, endearing moments that I loved in the performance. And I was just so shocked that it was even Clint pulling this off. I loved it. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
The magic of editing.
And then as for Bryson, because I'm slowly becoming more familiar with his work too, especially because I'm going from Diabolic Lovers here. Diabolic Lovers More Blood
Does
to...
the whole world revolve around Diabolic Lovers?
When it's ladies' night,
when it's ladies' night, when it's you're right.
Yes, but
I'm going from
us here.
I'm going from basically Diabolic Lovers More Blood to Food Wars, and then tomorrow at the time of recording this, I'm going through Monster Musume. Good lord, that'll be an interesting one.
Bail out!
I'm the host of that shit, and I didn't even remember until today.
I thought Andrew was.
No, I had signed up to be host of it a long-ass time ago.
Well, make sure you punch Andrew afterwards.
No, I volunteered for this, Jamal. You don't understand.
No, I mean, because you know who has to go through it because of him.
Oh yeah. No, I'm gonna leave that to her. She gets the punch in.
Okay.
So,
but
so Zenith, what did you? All right, now.
But hold on, I'm not done talking about Bryson.
Well, okay, fine.
I'm not done talking about Bryson. I'm really sorry.
Right.
But with Bryson is Takumi. I'm looking at the names again. I'm like, I don't want to get the wrong brother. With Bryson is Takumi Aldini. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it's a great fit because he can be strong and intimidating, but he's also really naive. Again, those moments where he's like, the one in particular that I mentioned before, where he was like, when we meet again, Soma, it's on. They get on the bus, he's like, well, how's it going? Should we throw down right now? He's like, shut up! Like, those little moments. Takumi is like, in a sense, if we're stereotyping character type, like going with character tropes, in a sense, he's a tsundere. He's a tsundere character in a sense, and it's rather amusing to me. And
yeah, it's not like I want to challenge you or anything,
Baka. And I think that Bryson, he pulls it off really well, and I think it's so adorable, and I loved every second of it.
Also, you got me wanting to like drop fan art of like a cross between Takumi and Shakugan no Shana now. It's like,
yes.
Rusai!
Do it. Do it.
I can't draw.
Hey, internet, do it.
do it now.
Do it.
Okay, when we resorted to memes, that proves that we need to move on.
Yes. Right. We move on to who is it? Just you and Zenith now? No?
Yeah.
All
right, so Zenith, what did you have thoughts on the Aldini brothers? One of them which is definitely not Clint Bickham.
Running gang now.
So, going off what you guys said, first of all, I just really want to add on to that Chappelle Sensei comment. I really loved the way they did Chappelle Sensei in this show. I think they did a great job casting someone who can actually do that accent well and made it convincing but not over the top. And that's really a contrast because a lot of the bit characters in the show, like the Dawn of the Research Society and some of the very minor parts, they're really just kind of, they're really bad. Like, I don't want to say that they're horrible, but they stand out as not being good voices, not being natural voices. And Chappelle could have just been another one of these bit parts, but I really like what they did with him, and I'm glad that they gave him something really good to work with. Yeah, Chappelle, definitely very good. Okay. On to the Aldini brothers. First of all, Takumi Aldini, I think, did a great job. I think Well cast, great voice. I think it really suits the character. A little bit like I've been saying all this time, it is different than what I expected, but it fits extremely well, and it's someone that is fun to see. And like you mentioned in that comment, like this is one of those that it really shines when he's challenging Yukihira, and then later on his challenges get shoved in his face, and it makes for some great jokes. So I thought Takumi was great. My problem is with Isami Aldini. Now, I think great voice acting. I think Clint did, or if it's not Clint, it's all lies. But I think Clint did a great job, with one exception. Throughout the entire show, he kept that particular voice. And there's portions of the show where he loses the weight, and I think that he should have changed up the voice slightly, made it more normal, to compensate for that. And I like Isami as a character, and I think he could have used just a bit more care to him. I don't think it was wholly horrible. I don't think it was bad. I do think the voice suited the character. For the most part. I mean, there were parts that I thought were just a little bit too much, but what really would have made this character better is if during the parts where he's actually skinny, he would, take some of that voice and stop doing it. And, I mean, granted, I'm not sure how far in that is for you guys, but that was a big problem for me. Anyway, yeah, so one of them I really liked, the other has some problems, but not bad, just minute.
See, I don't really have anything else to add compared to what you guys said. Like you said, they both work out really well, and I guess I wasn't familiar enough with Clint's what he normally sounds like to remember that this can't possibly be him. Mostly because it kind of reminded me of his role in Magikano. At least the voice does. And I do like how it's not such a bad, low voice try to fake as a fat guy, someone who's clearly not fat. Like, if you've seen what he looks like, he's a decent-sized guy. So, yeah, these guys are good, and I'm really glad that we got to learn how to make take Italian eggs into a salad with dressing to make a new kind of dish. I want to make that now.
That actually looks delicious.
Everything looks delicious.
I know!
The only thing that doesn't look delicious is the one character who makes really smelly food that is apparently supposed to also be appetizing. But aside from that...
No, what also is probably not delicious is those squid tentacles with whatever the fuck Soma dips them in every now and again.
Peanut butter covered squid tentacles. Come here, Lilac, have a bite.
I will punch you.
You would.
I would,
and I would deserve it.
Yes, you would!
Speaking of punches, I think it's time to move on, don't you think?
You know what? Speaking of calling food disgusting, I think we should move on now to plate 2576, where we finally get to, not the main characters, but the ones who show up at least in all the promotional art for some reason. We're going to get to who is essentially the antagonist of the series, Erina Nakiri, who is known as the God Tongue because she has a palate to rival all palates, making her the youngest member of the Elite 10 at the school, and one who absolutely hates Soma's cooking for being for him being an ordinary in background. But you know, every hardworking evil genius needs an assistant, and in Erina's case, she has one, and that is Hisako Arato, who is not just a wonderful assistant who will, play cards with her in the middle of the night, but she also specializes in cooking medicinal food, stuff that will make everyone feel better, or, help out with any of your bodily ails. So, you can imagine she's really popular in parties. These two characters, hold on to your voices, people. We're gonna talk about this.
Oh, boy.
Erina is voiced by relative regular at Sentai Filmworks, Stephanie Whittles, who's been cutting her teeth on a lot of different shows. Some of her most prominent ones, she voiced Misaki in Welcome to the NHK. One we just talked about recently, she was Megumi in School Live. She is Aiko in Demon King Daimao. And she is Maria in My Love Story. But one that all of you, I'm sure, have heard before, especially if you followed the summer 2017 season, Brittany Karbowski voices Hisako. Because Brittany has been all around the block. Like, just to name a couple of roles that she's done before, she is Rio in Clannad. She is IU in Canon. She's Rose in Red Garden. She is the lead Yamada in Yamada's First Time. And, most prominently, at least in the last season, she was Karan Tendo in Gamers. Now, yeah, okay, this is tough for me, people. You gotta help me out here. Give me the confidence to pass this along, because Erina is one character that is very easy to hate and kind of difficult to make that work in English without absolutely hating the actress. So, Lilac, I know you were foaming at the mouth to talk about this. I will let you go first. Tell me what is wrong with Stephanie Whittles.
Rich Valley girl.
Rich Valley girl.
That's basically my problem. Because...
What do you have against Rich Valley girls? I mean, it's not their fault.
Here's the thing, going between the Japanese and the English. In the Japanese, because Erina as a character herself, yes, we know she's a spoiled rich girl. Yes, she has, like, basically everyone groveling at her feet because she has, like, this god tongue of hers. But in the Japanese, it didn't sound like the stereotypical Valley girl. It played it much more straight, and there was a bit of snob there, but it didn't go, I didn't want to say it was comical, because there are points where, unfortunately, the voice work is rather comical here, and it's not the point of the character. Going back a little bit here, honestly, with Erina as a character, I feel like, and this is just me in terms of voice, the voice that I'm hearing, I think Christina Kelly would have been a much better fit for Erina. Christina Kelly, she brings the snob, but she has the tone of voice that I would think that Erina has. So, I love her as Alice, she's great there. But I feel like now that I'm listening to Alice, and then there was at least one scene where the two of them are together, comparing the two of them together side by side, I feel like Christina Kelly would have made a much better Erina as Stephanie Whittles. This isn't knocking Stephanie Whittles, it's just the voice itself wasn't what I was hoping for. Because I get it's supposed to be a spoiled rich girl. I totally get that.
Oh, yeah.
But but spoiled rich girl does not have to equate Valley Girl. Does not have to equate Valley Girl, and that's the problem I have with it.
So you think that Christina's acting, even if she acted as Erina exactly the way she acted as Alice, would have made Erina a more likable character?
I think so, yeah. I think it would have made the character a lot better. It's not the performance. Stephanie Whittles is fine, performance-wise. It's basically that situation that happened with the School Live episode that Gigi had, where it was the voice itself.
Yeah.
The voice itself is the issue, not the performance. The performance, I think Stephanie Whittles is really good as Erina. The voice is the problem to me. And I think that, and especially after seeing Alice and seeing what Christina Kelly can do with Alice's character, it might not be good if they were swapped for Stephanie to be Alice, but I think Christina would have made a much better Erina, in my opinion.
Okay, alright, arguments from Camp A. Jamal, do you have a counter argument to that, or are you in the same camp that Stephanie would have, or that Erina would have been voiced better by Christina?
I'm in the same camp because I hate it. Because here's the thing. Erina is a sharp-tongued bitch.
Yep.
The way Stephanie portrays her kind of makes it sound like she's a snooty bitch.
Yes.
Well, that's putting it lightly, because I'm not gonna call her a slutty bitch, because that's beneath me.
Yeah, no, she's not slutty at all, but she's very snotty, absolutely.
No, but it makes it sound so like something out of Mean Girls.
Yeah, that's the problem right there. Thank you.
Yeah, so honestly, I could have seen a different actress. I mean, Christina could have pulled double duty. If you wanted to stick with the fag girl theme, you could have gotten JB Monkey easily. I mean, hell, you could have gotten Sarah. We didn't have to do this character, cause here's a funny story. So Sarah went on a slight twin event one day when one of her roommates brought home a cake that looked like tiramisu, and she was not happy, so she took to Twitter to complain about it. At which point, she posted a gif of Erina, and I thought to myself, is she breaking NDA?
Oh, is that the gif where Erina, like, slams down on the table repeatedly?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay.
And then a thought occurred to me. I thought to myself, that could actually work. I mean, because nowadays we're starting to see some more Funimation actors come to Sentai. I mean, we already see Tia, we've already seen Austin. There's someone else on this list we'll get to later, but yeah, I thought she would be a good fit.
Jamie also wouldn't have been a stretch. She did Brynhilde in the Darkness. So
yeah, but that would still be a possibility, though.
No, I'm saying Jamie wouldn't be as far of a stretch. Sarah, maybe it would be less likely. I just think she probably just posted that gif because she likes the show or something, but
it would have been a possibility, because I've learned 2017 is the year of the Holy Grail.
No, 2017 is the year of the, like, Holy Grail dubs.
When it comes to anime, yes.
Holy Grail dubs, and I mean, like, Hyoka, Gosek, that crowd.
The licensing of unlicensable stuff, yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
the mythical dubs, that's what I call them, mythical
dubs.
Yes.
Alright, now...
So anyway, and then I realized, well, maybe if she just played it straight, it could have worked. And then I watched School Live, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about that either. I mean, she's I know she can do good, but I don't think... It's like trying to fit a size 10 foot in a size 4 shoe. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I like Stephanie Wills as an actress, and I think, for me, her best role was Welcome to the NHK, or is Welcome to the NHK. It's been a while since I've watched the show. I should probably watch the show. But,
I mean, I'm not familiar with her, but, you know, even then, it's kind of a stretch.
I've seen her at least in a few things at this point to get at least a general grasp on her voice work. Unfortunately, Erina just doesn't work to me.
All right, so I want it to be like the balancing act to say, like, no, she's great, she's perfect at it.
You're probably not going to get that.
I'm not going to.
Because I think all four of us have the same problem.
Yeah, but let me just say, I don't think that swapping her out with Christina would have been any better, because I perfectly like Christina and Alice the way she is. And something I forgot to mention, Alice is Erina's cousin, so the two of them having similar sounding Valley Girl-ish voices kind of fits with their background. People tend to sound similar to people who they grow up with. But my problem with Stephanie Whittles is not really the Valley Girl thing. It's more like she just sounds a little bit too old for the character. Like, I always have this problem with her in that I can hear non-high school voice coming out of someone trying to play a high school girl.
Okay.
And that bugs me in this a little bit. The acting itself, I'm not going to say that she could have done any better with it, because this character is very badly written. Those of you who are watching Food Wars currently know that we do not actually get a reason for her snobbiness until just this week, actually, which was episode 5 of season 3, and we start to get...
I need to catch up on season 3.
I won't tell you what happens, but
Good.
We start to finally get an explanation as to why she is the way she is.
Okay.
It's a little too late. It's not like it's going to make any of us like her, but she is, and this is something that JC Staff has in all of her shows, the requisite tsundere. They have to have one in all of their shows.
Why am I not surprised?
Allison Zoroku, Shakugan no Shana, a certain... No, actually, it was, who was it?
You were right.
Toradora, the Zero no Tsukaima series, the, what's it? Aro the Scarlet Weapon.
Aria the Scarlet.
Thank you. Every single goddamn one of those has to have the same tsundere character in it, We gotta have another one. Even if it was already in the manga, I'm sure. Gotta have another one in a JC Staff show. So I'm gonna say, for what Stephanie had, it's a kind of a thankless role anyways, because it's not like any acting was gonna make you like the character without totally changing the character. But yeah, does not help. Like, it's just as good as I thought it was gonna be.
I think potentially what your comments say about maybe Stephanie being too old for the role may have affected in the way that Jamal and I have the problem with the Valley Girl situation.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a chain of events in a sense. And yeah, it does. And you're right. It doesn't help that Erina isn't exactly a well-written character to begin with.
Well, she's well-written. She's just not a likable character.
Debatable.
Well, I say well-written. I mean, like, she adds variety. Like, there is no other character quite like her in the show, which, thank God.
True. Character development-wise, nah.
Yeah.
Not
but
really
I'm sorry.
very well.
Well, we talked enough. I'm sorry. Zenith, what did you have to say about Stephanie's portrayal as Erina?
All right, on to Erina. Okay. To answer to a bunch of you guys saying that Erina is not a well-written character, oh boy. Here's the thing. I am in kind of a different boat because I've actually seen all of Food Wars up until season 3, and I've read the manga up until like chapter 150 or something like that. So I know what's going on and what's happening. There's a reason why Erina is like this, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but there is character development, and she grows and changes, but it's hard due to events that happened in her past. And it's hinted at through a lot of the interaction with Hisako, but the thing is, they can't really delve into that because a lot of that is later on in the show. In season 2, you'll see a lot more with Hisako and with like Erina changing. And season 3 completely explains everything in one episode, and over the course of time, you'll figure that out. So I don't want you to say that she's a badly written character, because she's not. And I thought that at first too, but that's the way she was designed to be. She was designed to be a character that you completely thought, oh, this is this bitch. You know, it was designed that way to fool you into thinking it, and then when you rewatch the series, you see these little things. And this is my main problem that I have with the dub portraying Erina this way. Segue. So, in the Japanese, I think she's well-voiced. I think incredibly well-voiced in the Japanese, but the dub doesn't capture that because of the accent. Like, the voice actor does a good enough job, but the problem is the portrayal as this valley girl who's all snobby, and they play up the snootiness of it, and that's not who she is. She is not this haughty, above all, she's not really the snooty, self-centered person in that sort of sense. Like, the main thing is she does this because she was taught and brainwashed to be a certain way, and to think that certain foods just aren't edible. And so you see in the very second episode, when she's interacting with Soma, when she actually takes a bite of the food and has a very different reaction from anything else she's tasted before, but she still calls it disgusting. That's not because she doesn't like Soma. It's due to a lot of things in her past, and I can't even get into that because they're doing that with season 3. So, but yeah, like, the portrayal of Erina in this is just not handled very well because they don't primarily seem to understand what her character is. I mean, granted, I know that they're producing this as the show progresses, and season 3 had not come out when this was dubbed, when this was released, so they couldn't possibly have known unless they read the manga. I have read the manga, unfortunately, so I just, like, knowing what I know about this character, it just, the Erina's performance here does not work at all. Like, it gets better as time goes on, and she slowly starts to ditch that accent bit by bit. But even still, this is the worst performance in the show, not because of the actress, but because of the direction behind everything. And I don't think it's any good. So yeah, guys, that's my insight about Erina. Wait till season 3 and just pay attention. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. All right. So thank you. So to wrap this up, I'm sorry, we completely shut out discussions about Brittany in this whole thing.
About Brittany.
We didn't forget about her. We just I will give positive praises. We'll turn around.
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, Brittany, we didn't forget. I promise.
I'm
We
sure
love
she's
you,
really like a bunch of people in a
Cry in a corner now.
podcast people who I've never met before forgot about me.
No.
I don't know. Have any of you met Brittany before?
No. I wish I
haven't
did.
either.
Brittany seems
I
adorable.
almost did, and I almost cried when I couldn't. So
One day.
Brittany.
One day.
Brittany, come to Anime Boston. Let's go.
All right, Lila,
And-
you're keen on meeting her. What did you think about her portrayal as Hisako?
I really liked her as Hisako. It slightly reminds me a little bit of Karan Tendo, a tiny bit, from Gamers, only because I recently finished Gamers.
Gee, I wonder.
Rather than like a couple weeks ago, maybe. But her as Hisako, it's a different kind of character, only because, like, if you're comparing her to Gamers, Karan Tendo is basically Erina to a sense, but not as much of a snob. But we have Hisako, and she's just this, like, right-hand man, this lackey of sorts, who apparently has a big crush on Erina, by the way. I ship it! I ship it!
You and
But,
everyone else on DeviantArt.
Probably. And I think Brittany, I liked her as Hisako. She's not probably someone I would have expected to get this role to begin with, but I think it just turned out really fine. I liked it.
Did you either of you guys have actually someone you predicted would be Hisako instead?
Oh shoot, who did I predict? Because I do have my
Give
list
me
of
a
predictions.
I'm giving you permission to pull out the predictions.
I'm finding my list. What are my lists? I should still have them, I think.
I think this is the one who I thought was going to be voiced by Lucy Christian.
Ooh, I do have
Maybe.
this.
I'm not sure.
I had Christina Kelly and Molly Cersei, but
I had Emily Neves.
Oh, okay. I'm kind of
And-
surprised we haven't seen
and
Emily
here-
in the show
here-
so far.
Okay, and here's where I had Lucy. I had Lucy as Erina originally, actually.
Oh, you know what? I did too. Thank you for reminding me. I got actually no.
I
take it back.
had
I heard somewhere else.
Brittany as Erina.
Interesting.
I had Brittany elsewhere, actually.
So,
It's funny.
Jamal, what did you think about Brittany's take on the character?
Brittany's playing the character out of a typecast, and she did pretty good. I mean, it kind of took me a minute to get used to, because, when you hear Brittany in the show, you hear that little signature squealer first. You know the one.
Absolutely. It's her defining vocal trait.
Yeah, somebody make that a ringtone. But yeah, I thought she did
Nice.
pretty good. And the lesbian parts kind of caught me off guard a little bit the first time around. No, because I know she was her assistant. I just didn't know she was her assistant.
Yes.
Well, I'm not quite sure that Erina swings that way.
Oh, fuck, I
No,
forgot I had...
no.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at my predictions again. I forgot I had Takumi, right? I had Bryson as Takumi. My bad. I win.
Sure, fine. Glyla gets the golden pancake for the night.
Sorry, I forgot. I had to jump in. My bad. Sorry.
I'm glad we at least all agree that Brittany is awesome in this. And like I said in the Love Life episode, I think I've finally gotten over my years of anti-Brittany prejudice. I just had to watch the right shows. I just hadn't been watching the right shows before that.
Excuse me, when were you in a Love Life episode?
Yeah.
School. Did I say Love Life? I meant School
Yes, you
Life.
did say Love Live.
We haven't even done that episode yet.
We
Just
did
for that,
Love
make
Live
us get
Sunshine,
Sophie in
but...
there.
Okay. Future
what about-
Jamal, who's editing this, take this part out.
No, leave this in, because it's funny. Anyways,
Trust me,
Zenith.
he's gonna leave it in.
Anyways, Zenith.
Alright, so Hisako. Hisako is one of the characters who was really kind of safely voiced in the Japanese dub, and I think what they really did here is try to make her stand out. Granted, a lot of this cast tended to be a reunion of certain different shows. Like, you see people here from Gamers, you see people here from Nozaki-kun. Later on, we're going to be seeing a lot of people from Angel Beats. It definitely does start to feel like they took a lot of these people who are in the major roles there and put them in the major roles here. And I think Hisako's role in Gamers was fine. I think she did a great job for the most part, despite some problems. And I think her as Hisako is actually much better because we don't have to worry about her like drooling and all this other stuff that I didn't like about Gamers. Here, it's well, technically you have the lesbian moments, but for the most part, Hisako is a serious character, and I think what they did with her in the dub was great. I don't really have too much to say because Hisako doesn't get fleshed out until later arcs, like Season 2 has a lot of stuff with Hisako, and Season 3, so we can't really get into that. But I think for what it is right now, for Hisako's character here, I think that the voice actress did a great job. I don't have any complaints, so yeah, I want to move on because the next one I really want to talk about.
I agree 100%. We're moving on from that then. Again, Zenith, we love you. So, okay, we have gone through a wide cast of characters, all of them in varying degrees of likability, and all of them have their own unique cooking style, but we need to get to the top two, the creme de la creme, the pièce de résistance.
The cinnamon roll who could do no wrong.
The best girl cinnamon roll in
Innocent
the show
roll.
who may do no wrong. And this isn't even going to be a battle. No, you can't argue against this.
No.
Megumi Tadakoro is the best girl of the show.
Yes.
Voiced by Jade Saxton. She
Woo!
is
Woo!
Yes, woohoo for all of the Jades in the world. She is the blue-haired, pigtailed, adorable ball of sunshine who actually is on the verge of failing out of the school at the beginning of the series, but through the confidence she gains from her friends and especially from the help of Soma's influence, she gradually becomes more confident in her cooking and even holds her own weight against professionals, especially when making vegetables, which she seems to be the best at.
Yeah.
In fact, she is either a vegetable gnome, a vegetable spirit, or a winter spirit, whichever one you collect
Or
first.
it's like a snow spirit of fortune or something.
No,
it's a spirit of fortune. Spirit of fortune. That's the woodland one. Okay.
Yeah. So, there's a point where all the higher up chefs are so impressed by her rainbow terrain that they're actually fighting over what title they would give her.
Yeah.
That's credibility right there.
Yup, it's a great.
All right, I'm gonna go first on this one because I keep letting you guys go first. And enough of that. Megumi is the reason that I was convinced that this show is going to be really good because, like I said, the first two episodes had some directing problems with background characters and lead characters that are like kind of about likability. And then Megumi showed up. And Jade gave us one of the most adorable, slightly klutzy, but very unlike anything I've heard out of her before voice. Like, to give context, she was Kana in Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. She doesn't quite sound like that. She was Eve Genoward in Baccano. She's Nona in Death Parade. She's Mira in Dimension W. She's Senna in Haganai. Just a wide range of characters of varying degrees of adorability. But this one is like the kind that just lifts your spirit up and makes you grateful to see a character who keeps going on. She has great comedic timing in the parts where she has to be frightened, because there's quite a few of those. And when she finally toughens up, it just makes your soul melt. None of you can disagree with me that. I'm assuming you both think the same thing.
I think we all think the same thing.
Yeah, so much so that when we were doing predictions, I actually had her down on my list.
I didn't actually have Jade anywhere on my list, and I feel ashamed.
Because the thing about it is, I mean, Jade Saxton is anime. I mean, look at her. She's good looking in person. Let me tell you, wow.
Now, to be
she's
fair,
also a sweetheart in person. Thank you.
Yes. And the thing about it is, 2017 seems to be in a year because she's been in a lot of comedies recently, and I really like her composure. So yeah, like, where do I begin? You want to go ahead while I collect my thoughts?
I can try.
Okay.
So first of all, I'm dumb. This is where I actually predicted Brittany Karbowski to be, which would have been fun too. But going into it, I was a little bit hesitant because before Food Wars cast was announced, I'd seen Jade in more serious roles, more dramatic roles, nothing like this cute and adorable cinnamon roll. And then I go into it, I fall in love with it, and I think it's one of the best performances of the show, bar none.
Yeah. For me, it was like, I don't think anybody's gonna get this reference unless you've seen Criminal Minds, but if you heard of the actress Paget Brewster, she plays a character named Emily on that show, and she is kind of serious and just keeps to herself every once in a while. Kind of like Jade did the Suderi roles, but ever since she left that show, she's been doing a lot of comedy lately, and it's been kind of surprising, just like Jade in this role. It was very surprising too. Like, I really loving it a lot, especially with the flashback during the Shokugeki with Chef Shinomiya.
Oh yeah.
Like, you hear her talk in the flashback, and here's the thing, I'm putting this down to another black magic, because you know it's her, but when you hear her talk as a little kid, that sounds nothing like her.
I think it sounds like her.
To me it doesn't. Like, she's been able to change her voice so much that even when you do know it's her, it doesn't sound like her. Like,
right.
It really doesn't sound like her.
I understand that.
And Jade, when she portrayed this character, I think she must have regressed, like, back in her high school years or something like that, because she made it very believable when she was so easily frightened in competitions.
Yeah.
Like, it was very believable.
Yeah. She definitely made it believable with all her stage fright moments.
Yeah, she has a tendency to do that. I don't know how she did it, but she does it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Zenith, what you thinking, buddy?
Okay. I am so excited to talk about this right now because, oh my god, Jade Saxton is simply perfect as Megumi. And here's the thing, like you said, I had several of the problems with the show, with the dub. Like, during the first 2 episodes, I was kind of like, about a few things because 2 of the characters were just okay and they hadn't really come into their stride yet. I thought Soma and Joichiro got better after episode 3, and Erina was really like ticking me off, and I'm just like, maybe I'm not sure about this dub. But then Megumi walks in episode 3, and everything is just... From that point, I knew this dub was going to be good. I had my doubts the first 2 episodes, but that's true of the sub as well, and nothing to do with the voice acting. But when I first started watching the show myself, I was like, the first 2 episodes kind of iffy. Like, I liked it, but there are certain parts that really put people off, and that can be said of the first 2 episodes of this dub. And then you get to Megumi, Tadokoro is simply perfectly cast as Jade Saxton. It didn't even sound like voice acting. Like, this doesn't sound like someone is doing an impression and it sounds like someone is talking naturally. It sounds like she is Megumi in this, and like, it's so perfect that I just had to keep watching. She's the best performance out of the dub, bar none, and she is best girl. So, yeah, Jade, fantastic job. You win best in show, the Zenith seal of approval. Like, I don't know if we ever do like visual stuff on the show, but just Jamal, can you please just put a stamp in there, like, definitely best in show. Good job.
Wonderful work, ladies and gentlemen. And by wonderful, I mean I would have been really surprised if any of us had diverted from a uniform opinion about Jade doing really well in this show.
Woohoo.
So if you're going to watch the show for any reason, watch it for Jade's portrayal. She makes this character. But she is the second lead in the show, but she is not the namesake of the show. So we have finally gotten to course 10,000 of this meal.
1 million yen. $1 million. Sorry, I had an Austin Powers moment.
I don't know what that has to do with this show, but okay.
I don't either. I just had a moment. I'm sorry.
There was a clip where it's just a whole bunch of flying guys come out. It was 1 million yen.
I haven't seen.
I forget the episode, but I'll put a picture up on screen.
Nice.
Okay, thank you, editor Jamal. So this final character that we've gotten to in dish number 10,000 is the namesake of the series, Yuki Soma.
Woohoo!
Not so much Shokugeki like I made the mistake once.
Oh, good job.
Way to go. So the lead character who is in all of the promotional art, he is the spiky-haired, red-haired, cooking mastermind who for some reason is just so amazing at cooking
Crazy
that
bastard.
not only can he like get past any challenge just by making a good meal out of it, but he can also woo the pants off of anyone with an explosion of deliciosity. Just to list some of the dishes he made. He made
You're right.
bacon-wrapped potato dish and called it a pork roast, which was really good. He made it's like a chicken brew cut into cubes that like melted over the rice and like made this really delicious dish. He made
It was
cooked-
like futake rice or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
something like
It
that.
was supposed to be an egg chicken dish.
Wait, correction. Transforming futake rice.
Yes, it was. It didn't look like anything until the transformer of the chicken. He made, I think it was onigiri rice balls in green tea with fish.
Yeah.
That using a French method he'd never even heard of before. This guy is so good he can cook things he didn't even know even existed.
You forgot the mackerel burger too, but yeah.
Oh, there's a new dish in every episode. If I
Yeah.
listed all of them, you may as well just go watch the show itself, which you totally should do.
You
for
should
these amazing
anyway, yes.
dishes.
Yes, please.
So, who voices Soma? Why,
Drum
of course,
roll!
it's Blake Shepard!
Woo!
The golden boy of Sentai's nice lead character voices for...
I don't know about that statement.
Okay, I don't mean nice as in like the characters themselves are nice, but like nice sounding. Like
I don't know
not
about
correct,
that
but-
statement.
Okay, let's just list some
There's
of the
this
roles,
man
shall
named Adam Gibbs. I will fight you.
The roles that Blake has been in has been he's been lead Yuzuro Otonashi in Angel Beats. He was the lead
Okay.
Kazuhito in Dog and Scissors. He's Iki in Amnesia.
No.
He is Laito in Diabolic Lovers.
and then Gigi splooshes everywhere.
please
She
send.
loves Laito. You know that.
I know. Okay, well and I'm gonna finish it off with one role from a show that I know both of you love. He
Okay.
is Liang in Nanbaka.
Yeah.
Which if you haven't watched that yet,
Do
what
it.
the fuck is wrong with you?
Do it. I'm just like, when's the home video release? Funimation, let's go.
Yes.
Let's go. I want
think,
it.
Wait, is Nanbaka the one with Happy Fucking New Year?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, they're gonna release the home video on Happy Fucking New Year!
No, they're not, sadly, which is depressing.
Oh.
No, it's gonna be in the happy fucking New Year.
True facts. I hope that's true. That'd be perfect.
Bring around to this show. So, Jamal, do you have any qualms with Blake Shepard bringing the lead shonen character of this manga anime to life?
Zero. I mean, Blake Shepard, he makes Soma sound like a cross between, well, he's a cross between Karma and Johnny Young Bosch. And I thought it was a match made in heaven. Like,
Ooh.
No,
Okay.
there's a love child I'd like to see.
Ooh.
no. Johnny's too old for that. But yeah. But yeah,
God
no.
damn
It's like, it sounds like he's literally Sentai's answer to Johnny Young Bosch. I mean, you can't tell me that's not true.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's interesting you say that because I never noticed it until watching the show today. And then there were twinges. I'm like, that's that tone of voice. That's similar to Johnny Young Bosch. Holy shit!
That's exactly what we needed for this character.
Now you have a Johnny Young Bosch in every major dubbing city now. Except New York. And I'm not counting Canada.
Which ranger was Blake? Was he the Green Ranger?
What?
Yeah, we could put it that
you
way.
said that, well, I assume that now every dubbing studio has a Power Ranger, right?
Oh, I get the joke. Because Johnny Young Bosch was a Power Ranger.
Yes.
Alright, so you have no qualms with Blake Shepard. Lilac, do you have a problem with Blake Shepard?
Absolutely not. If we were talking about predictions, he was actually one of my predictions for Soma. Soma was actually very difficult when I was thinking of predictions. I'm like, who could fit this? And Blake was one of the first people to come to mind. And the second I started the show, it was exactly what I pictured, exactly what I was hoping for, exactly what I expected. I love it. Nice. I'm just like, yes! Like, admittedly, it was a little rough to start with because, of course, you're starting a new show and going into this character. It's not going to be perfect right off the bat, but God damn it, sorry, I'm yawning. But as soon as like it was the first episode, as soon as we get to the part where he makes that meat dish, the quote-unquote meat dish for this bitch of a woman who's trying to take their store and tear it down just for luxury apartments.
As you do, as a greedy businesswoman. And
the second he becomes intimidating towards her, I was sold. I'm like, this is exactly what I had hoped for. This is exactly what I wanted with Soma's character. And Blake is just phenomenal. This is, I'd say this, Megumi, so Blake, Jade, probably Bryson, and Scott Gibbs. Those four are probably my favorite performances, and Blake is like up there, basically, as one of my favorites from the show. I'm like, yes! Every part of it was just perfect. I love every second of it.
Great. Alright, so I guess I get to be the one to, like, bash Blake and bring this fun train to a complete halt, right?
You better not.
I can't.
Good! I'd be mad.
Well, there was I thought I might be able to in the first 2 episodes, because like you said, they were a bit rough going, but that may have been more with just the cast getting used to the premise of the series, because it's a bit of a tough line to walk. It's mostly a comedy, but it has to be dramatic. Like, that first episode, it's lighthearted and fluffy, and then sabotage to the restaurant happens, and it potentially is going to get closed down. That's dramatic. That has to be taken very seriously. Blake managed, after just a couple episodes, gets more into the balance of it too. Like, he takes things seriously when they're actually legitimately things are at stake, and when they're more lighthearted, that's obviously where he's more in his element. He's much more in his element being goofy or like enthralled by the cooking world around him.
Dude, tormenting people with his nasty ass tentacles dipped in whatever the fuck he's using. That's the funniest thing ever.
Oh, now we're talking about Soma and strange stuff. You want to hear a funny story?
Okay.
I suppose.
So there was an 18 and up panel I went to at Animate Miami last year.
Oh boy.
We're off to a good start, folks.
I can already tell this is going to be a good
start. Here's the thing. They had a twerking contest.
Jesus Christ.
What?
It just keeps getting better and better.
with this girl and her booty and a Soma cosplayer. Guess who won?
The Soma cosplayer?
Yes.
Nice.
And ever since then, I've been weirded out by Soma a little bit, but I thought that kind of fit his personality real well. And because Soma is a goofy character, but man, he could get the job done.
He
oh my god!
As a character, he strikes me as someone who hasn't endured hardships, because everyone else in the school has been had the fun driven out of them because they were in the lower schools of Totsuki Academy, like their middle school division.
Yeah.
So having someone like this who's refreshingly naive about the world It's like that's what gives the show its spice. Watching him go through these hardships, using that optimism to get through the hardships, and also when he can't get over it because like something's just too difficult for him, that's when we're like, that's really satisfying to watch.
Yeah, like that secret food war that they had during the training camp, and the result of that. I thought that was well played on Blake's part.
That was the part where I realized he has gotten the balance out fine. He didn't play it for laughs. He had legitimate frustration in his voice. And yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Zenith, please tell me we can go 4 for 4.
All right.
I love Blake.
Okay. Blake. Yes, we're going 4 for 4 because I love Blake. Now, first of all, it's Otonashi. It is motherfucking Otonashi from Angel Beats. Remember, back to that whole Angel Beats cast reunion thing. We have a couple other members from Angel Beats, but Otonashi, main character, voiced by him. And from the moment I started up, I'm like, wait a second, I need to look up this voice actor. And I'm just like, oh my god, it's Otonashi. From the one part that I was kind of iffy, but I also had the same way when I first saw the Japanese sub, was like the first 3 lines of the dub, but that's just because of the way the show starts up. Like, honestly, when I first started watching the show anyway, I'm like, I'm not entirely sure how to feel about the voice, but then from the moment, I'm sorry, my cat is screaming in the other room, please ignore, but from the moment he actually stepped into the restaurant, I'm like, oh my god, this is perfect. Blake does a fantastic job of bringing in every side to Soma, does a great job with the goofy side, he does a great job with the serious side, like you mentioned with that secret Shokugeki, and I'm kind of wondering how he's gonna do with later seasons, because here's the thing, Soma is okay with losing because he's lost to his father like 498 times or something like that, like almost 500 times he's lost Shokugeki. So he doesn't really have too much a problem with losing because he learns from his losses, but he hates it. He hates losing really intensely. And so that's why like that challenge, the secret food war, really got to him. It's one of the better parts of the show. But that's not the only time in the series that he loses. And during season 2 and season 3, he has some great victories, but he also has a couple really memorable losses, and I'm really wondering how he's going to bring things across in season 2 and season 3. But for season 1, I think this is perfect. Otonashi, you did a fantastic job.
All right, drinks on us.
Woo! Let's have that rice juice, guys.
You get a drink, and you get a drink.
You get rice juice,
That
and
guy
you get
doesn't
rice
get a
juice.
drink.
You get this juice that is
Just
juice.
regular.
That is for sure juice.
Yes. Wait, I forget. Andrew is 21 now, right? He can have alcohol?
Yes.
Okay, so everyone
Yes.
in the Dub Talk podcast is old enough to drink now.
Yes, because Andrew turned 21 this year. That's right.
Yeah. You get some rice juice, quote unquote.
Woohoo! It's actual juice. Legit. This is juice, as those subtitles kept telling you.
All right. So that only took us. How long have we been recording? That only took us 2.5 hours. Good job, guys.
It's not 2.5 hours. What are we talking about?
Well, okay, so I
Anyway.
guess now that we've reached the end course, time for a breath mint for everyone, and to finish off with our final thoughts.
Can we have dessert? Dessert?
You know what? Let's do that first. Lilac, here is
Dessert?
here's a dish of what should I call it? Here is a lemon tort for your dessert.
Ooh.
Tell us what you think about the final thoughts on the dub.
This lemon torch is delicious. Ooh, grazie. So, kind of like what I was saying in the beginning, the show itself is a lot of fun. Honestly, I wouldn't have given this show even a glance if I hadn't made that deal with Zenith, where she watched Arslan and I watched Food Wars after she bashed Food Wars for the first episode. I'm sorry, Zenith. I told you Arslan was much better after the first episode. I fucking told you. But the show itself is a lot of fun. It's especially once you get past the first couple of episodes, it really kicks it in, and you really get to know what the show is about. But going into the dub itself, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Leaning on it being a very solid dub, though. Mixed bag as in there really was just some casting choices, again, that I had a few issues with, and obviously there was one Universal one that we weren't fond of that much, and again, not saying...
Interestingly enough, for different reasons, I was kind of surprised to hear.
Yeah, it's really interesting. But, not knocking the voice actress as a person or a human being.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're probably...
Of course not.
Obviously, they're probably a very sweet person. It's just... We're here to be critical of things, because we're nerds on the internet. Or as Roots likes to say, professional morons. We are sponsored by our own
absolutely.
idiocy.
The big question, though, Lilac, to what we like to end off on is,
Yes.
would you recommend to people to watch this in the dub or in the Japanese?
That's a tough that's a little bit of a tough choice, but only because of the Erina performance and how that worked out. But I would say the dub. The dub is great. It has plenty of fun and memorable performances in the English dub.
Mm-hmm.
That while the one that I'm not fond of, it can be distracting and kind of take me out of it a bit. The rest of the performances that I thought were amazing, they make up for it. So I would definitely say the dub.
Very good. That's what it all comes down to. People like nice bite-sized conclusions.
Yep, because we don't judge people who prefer dub or Japanese over the other. We don't judge. It's all about preference. And personally, I think I prefer the dub over the Japanese.
All right, Jamal, I have here with me a triple stack cheesecake with vanilla bean ice cream sprinkled on top. What do you think of the dub performances in this show as we finish off your cheesecake?
Well, as I finish off this cheesecake, these dub performances to me are like a savory meat stew. I mean, it's a wide, complex array of flavors. I mean, there was. Oh, hold on. Let me collect my thoughts. I
get that dish.
I had that
back on the
worded
plate.
better in my head. There are some staples in here that have been used in various ways. There are some sweet notes in here, that being Megumi. There are a
Megumi.
couple of sour notes in some unusual performances, and maybe a bit of salt in one taste, but it's kind of mostly in the background, behind the scenes, if you will. Yeah,
Okay.
So other than that, I do think it all came together nicely it was all well balanced, slightly off balance, but it was a well balanced presentation nonetheless.
Very nice. Excellent. So, we have two wonderful desserts. Thank you both. Jamal, just to finish off, would you recommend this in Japanese or English for new viewers?
That's personally a taste preference. If you want something that tastes familiar to you, you go with the dub. If you want to taste the Japanese cuisine, if you will, you go sub.
Okay. And that's a fair assessment. There are a lot of dubs that are either or, so I guess we can chalk this up as
It depends on how your taste buds react. As well as your earbuds.
Yeah. All right. Your earbuds are going to say.
You know where I was going with that.
Give me some more of that time.
I'm a hammy.
God damn it! Jesus
Tie
Christ.
my hammy on.
Oh, you can tie my hammies.
Anyway,
You can tie my hammies
Okay,
anytime.
that's your
God
pushing it
damn it! Stop.
We're gonna get
Stop
kicked out of
it.
Texas, I'm sure.
No, you're not gonna be allowed to go back to Texas. I ain't playing a part of this.
No,
I got nothing to do with this. You
I
can
thought we were-
stay out of Texas. You can
Anyway,
be banned.
should we
I'm
kick
not.
it over to Zenith now?
All right, Zenith is my friend. Zenith, can you
Zenith
tell-
is my.
I have, for my friend Zenith, I have prepared her what's called Death by Chocolate. It is,
Ooh.
it's a chocolate pie, basically, with a chocolate graham cracker crust. It's got Kahlua in it, and some dark molasses for extra flavor.
You know, for a pastry chef, I'm surprised I'm not the one serving these dishes, and you apparently are.
Hey, I tell you what, if I get any of you at my, residence anytime, I will cook you all of the courses. But I'm sorry, Zach. Go ahead. What did you think of the dub?
Okay, so final thoughts. Overall, I think Food Wars is a pretty good dub. Like I say in my review, and I'm going to get to that sometime next year, so we have a little bit of time for you to let some of what I'm saying here sink in, and I will embellish upon that in my full-on review. But for the dub, I think it is mostly very good. There are some really great standouts. I really love that there's a lot of returning cast members that I recognize this time. This is like one of the first shows where I'm like, oh my god, that's Honey Senpai. Oh my god, that's Otonashi. Oh my god, that's Greg Ayres. Like, these are people I actually recognize for once, and you don't see that from me in any of the other dub talks. So this is like the first time I'm like, I know these people, and it's wonderful because I get to talk about people that I really, really enjoy, and I think for the most part, 95% of this is really well acted, and there are 3 things that I don't like. Well, 4, if I don't like some of the bit parts, but then again, they're only in for like a few seconds. I did not like the Dawn of the Research Society, the guy who, the Dawn Research Society head. I thought the voice was just not a good fit, in my opinion. I didn't like June's voice, in my opinion. We're not talking about them, but then again, they haven't showed up till this point. But the ones that we're really talking about here, the big problems that I have were Isami, not acting-wise, but because they didn't really switch it up when he lost the weight, and Erina. And Erina is the only major problem of the show. And so she gets better over time, and she doesn't really have as big a presence in Season 1 as later seasons. But Sentai, I really hope you take note of this for future seasons and really focus on what her character is, because that's the major detriment to this series. I think overall, great job. I was engaged from episode 3 forward, much the same way as with the Japanese. So you did your job. Bravo, bravo. But going forward, I think you really need to take a look at Erina's voice and how to make it a lot more natural sounding, because while it got better over time, it is kind of, I don't like it.
Wonderful work. And by which I mean, thank you for finishing up that chocolate, Death by Chocolate. Here's a gallon of milk to wash it down. That's some really rich stuff. No, don't try. I've made Death by Chocolate before. It came out so rich and liquidy that, yeah, we needed like a gallon of milk per slice to wash it down. It was that good. So I guess I'll finish off then. And for myself, I'm going to give myself the finest dessert possible. I get a bowl of vanilla ice cream.
I'm about to say, I'm like, what? What the frick you get, you cheapskate?
There's nothing left. I gave you guys all the good stuff. I'm just going to get one of those big economy tubs of ice cream out of the freezer.
I mean, to be fair, vanilla ice cream does sound really good right now. Can I have some? Are you willing to share?
No, you had your lemon tort, and you didn't even share a bite with me, so frick
I
you.
would have if you asked me to, damn it!
Yeah, well, you're not supposed to have to ask. A friend just gives it to someone without, having asked.
You can ask, damn it!
Well, next
it's not
time
a crime
you'll know
against
better.
it.
I guess I should talk about this dub, because to answer the question, should you watch this in English or Japanese, this is indeed a show that the dub is perfectly reasonable for whichever side you're more comfortable with, Japanese or English. I may actually recommend the English for 2 main reasons. One, Jade Saxon's Megumi is like the best performance in all of this. It is a voice out of Jade that I haven't quite heard before, and every line is like, I could not imagine listening to it in the Japanese anymore. And the second reason is all of the foods that are being described are described in intense detail, so that you see a lot of subtitles after you read if you're watching in Japanese. So if you're more of a person who wants to listen to the recipes described without the intense reading because it goes too fast or it just doesn't soak in for you, I definitely say go with the English. And I will give props also, one thing I didn't mention, to the English voice actors for, I'm assuming not all of them are chefs, but for the most part, most of them read the heavy dialogue describing their cooking techniques believably enough. Like, I kind of got the feeling that some of them actually believed what they're saying about French-style cooking, where you use oil to mildly sear the fish before you boil it finally, or you cook pork belly stock and then soak it in ginger and honey, and like, my god, I love this show so much with all the stuff that there is to cook in it. Like, this show gave me the recipe for karage, that now is a staple of stuff that I cook at least like once every 2 weeks. So, excellent job on all the acting performances. Good job, Kyle Colby Jones, for balancing both dramatic and comedic moments. It's a hard thing to pull off on this, and especially props to getting a wide variety of voice actors to cover the wide range of characters we have in this show. So glad I watched it. Even more glad I get to watch it a second time for this dub rewatch. Mwah!
Huzzah!
Viva la France! And with that, I think we have finished off our 10,000 course meal. Has everyone had their fill?
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, I think I need to go lay down. I'm gonna go into a food coma right now.
Nice. Which hopefully will be relevant, because by the time this episode should be going up the week of Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody!
Unless you're Canadian, in which case, happy Black Friday. We have some Canadian viewers. We have some Canadian members of the Dub Talk.
We have some worldwide viewers, actually.
We
all
do?
over the place. Yeah.
I didn't check the schematics. I didn't know like where our viewers all come from.
Surprise!
Like I said, vive la France.
Oui, monsieur.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna stop embarrassing myself. And finish off by saying that if you're interested in watching this show, this Food War show that we talked about, you can do so in a couple of different places. All seasons up to the most recent episode are available in sub over on Crunchyroll. You don't need a trial to watch it, because all the episodes are up, except for the ones in season 3 that are simulcast right now, which, if you want to watch the most recent episodes 1 hour after they come out in Japan, they do have a subscription for $6.99 a month. Or you can watch it with ads and just wait a week for that episode to come out. However, if you really want to watch this in dub, which you really want to do, you can watch it over on High Dive, which is Sentai Filmworks' premier streaming service, where
it's
you can watch...
It's their revamped anime network, basically.
Thank you. And you can have all of their shows that they have in dub for only $3.99 a month. Or, if you're awesome like Zenith, you can actually buy a physical copy of this, because this is available on DVD and Blu-ray for standard releases. And there's also a really nice limited edition box set available that has a lot of extra goodies to go with the show. Look into that if you want to add something to your home library, or like me and Lilac, where it's something that you buy but will not ever watch because you buy more than you actually watch.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm already watching Food Wars right now, so...
This one you watch, but I'm sure you've got stuff you bought back in like 2012 that you still haven't taken out of the shrink wrap.
No, I take everything out of the shrink wrap.
Okay, fine. So yeah, that is where Food Wars is available. Now, what about us? If you watched all the way to the end of this episode, you clearly want to know more about Dub Talk. By the way, if you did get to the end of the episode, you get the secret password. And the secret password is shiitake. So if you got this far...
Why do we have this secret password?
Because if they put it in the comments, we know they got this far.
Oh, nice!
Wink, nudge, nudge. We need like give everyone an incentive to get this far in the episode.
Let's do it!
Or they could just fast forward to near the end, I guess, and cheat too.
I mean... But why would you do that?
That's true. No one
Missed
will
everything.
do that. Anyways, so you got this far. You want to know about Dub Talk? Well, you can subscribe to this channel, youtube.com/dubtalkpodcast, where all of our episodes are archived and kept up for your viewing pleasure. We also have a Twitter feed, which is @dubtalkpodcast. Lilac, I think we also have like an Instagram as well, I think.
We have an Instagram as well as a Tumblr, and Dub Talk Podcast is the handle for both.
Thank you. So, enough about the Dub Talk podcast as a whole. Let's plug the fine chefs who helped out in this night. Zenith, I think you should go first.
I am Zenith will rule. You can find all of my stuff on youtube.com/Zenith will review. You can find all of my different reviews there, or you can go to my Zen Plays channel. Just Google Zen Plays Danganronpa. We took a little bit of a break for a while, but we're going to be coming back sometime in December. And as always, my Twitter is @ZenithWillRule. I have a bunch of other stuff that I do. I don't want to take up a lot of your time. Just, check out all the stuff that I do. I do a lot, and I'm doing more because I actually have started doing Yelp and Google food reviews. That's right, I actually review food as well. I do everything. I am Zenith. I review everything, and that is my new catchphrase. I only review everything. So there you go. Anyway, guys, I'm Zenith. Have a good one.
Fantastic. And here is your bill. Jamal, why don't you tell everyone where you can be found around the World Wide Webs?
I'm pretty much on Jamstar529 on Twitter, Jamstar1 on YouTube, or I'm just somewhere on the internet. You never know where. So
You roam the internets. You're a wandering soul.
Follow the bouncing Sailor Scout.
Oh my God.
Jesus, Noah.
Noah.
She's 14, man. What's wrong with you?
No. Like, you remember those old sing-along videos where it's like follow the bouncing ball?
Oh,
To
yeah.
like follow the bouncing
Yes.
ball on the screen, but instead, follow the. That's what I meant. I wasn't trying to be pervy. I'm sorry.
Well,
Sure, you
unfortunately,
weren't.
it went the wrong way of what you intended.
Fine, I'll send it the right way and give it to Lilac. Plug away.
That's one way to follow it up. Yeah, my name is Stephanie, or I'm also known as Lilac. You can follow me on Twitter @LilacAnimeReview. Review being spelled REVUE. Basically, I just post about my daily life and my struggles, because working full time as an adult, but also, I guess you could say also working full time with this podcast is basically my life in a nutshell. It's great.
Working 9 to 5.
I'm jealous of you right now.
I don't know if you should be jealous of me. I'm tired. I'm so tired, guys. It's nuts. I have to record another episode tomorrow. I'm recording an episode on my birthday. I'm recording
Oh,
something
God.
on Sunday.
You need like anime rehab after a while.
We all need anime rehab. We're all nuts for doing this podcast, but okay.
That's gonna be like a new episode. It's gonna be like anime detox almost.
That'd be a funny April Fool's episode, actually.
Yeah, it's like where we stop watching cartoons and actually force ourselves to watch live action for a change.
That would.
I already got anime detox. It's called being broke.
Oh
But that's what free streaming is for.
no!
I'm still broke after that.
No, I mean like Crunchyroll and places that are legitimate.
I'm still broke after that. That's what I mean.
Even with free Crunchy? Well, I mean, you're right.
I'd rather pay to watch this anime than to sit through ads.
I don't blame you.
True.
I would also prefer to pay.
True.
That's why I do.
That's why I do too.
Except for Hulu. I'm totally fine paying for the ad version of Hulu.
I paid for Hulu. I did.
So
Mostly
do I.
because I don't.
Anyway.
I don't have cable. That's why.
No one has cable. Cable that doesn't even exist.
Anyway.
I have cable, you moron.
Anyway, Mr. Head Chef, who are you, sir?
And as I pass out bills to everyone, even though they're broke, am Noah Clue. And you can find me also on Twitter @NoahClue, where I I'm taking a bit of a break right now, but probably by the time that this episode goes up, I'll be back to posting stuff again. Predominantly opinions about the animation industry, both in the West and in the Japanosphere, and also, to brighten your day, pictures of my adorable daughter Ruby and handsome son Oliver, because I have procreated and need to show it off to the whole world.
Because kids are
and you can't
adorable,
stop me.
folks.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
I crashed our Skype meeting the other day with Ruby. Just stopped
Ruby's
the whole
so-
meeting for like 10
She's
minutes.
so precious.
She is.
She's so
I do want to bring her up
precious.
to Boston sometime.
Bring the entire family to Boston. Let's go. Do it.
I'm working on it.
Do it, damn it. I bet
Like-
Jenny would let you
like it.
too if you brought everyone.
Well, she'd have to. I do not think that my wife would legitimately let me just take 2 children, one of them who's not even a year old, across the country without her.
No. That's
Yeah,
why.
she's
Family
shouting no.
family vacation. Let's go. Come to Boston.
Jen-
I will show you around.
Jenny, we're going to Boston next fall, or no, next spring, sorry. We're walking.
You're walking.
We're gonna get started tomorrow morning. See you in a few months, Lilac.
Okay, cool. I'll get everything ready for you.
All right, when our episodes have devolved into not talking about the show itself, that's when
That's
it's time
when-
to start wrapping it
That's
up.
when we know it's time to stop.
Yeah. Again, if you've gotten this far, shiitake mushroom.
Shiitake mushroom.
So-
That's the code
All
word
right.
today.
All right, everyone, pay your bills on the way out, and we hope you enjoyed your service.
Wait, hold on. Why the hell am I being charged $150 here?
Well,
What the hell did I have, Noah? What did you do?
I gave you the best, okay? I gave you beef tips and garlic mashed potatoes.
No, you didn't.
and-
You gave the other guy in the back those.
Wait, I did?
Yes.
Damn it! I need to stop getting these bills mixed around.
Jesus, you're
Okay,
a terrible head chef. No. Actually, you're terrible at wait staff. Don't do it.
Fine. You had squid. You had squid covered in peanut butter and chocolate.
God, no, I didn't have that shit. That thing sounds terrible.
I mean, you've had squid before. I know you
But
have.
not covered in peanut butter.
Well, I can't really imagine peanut butter like ruining anything. Like I've had a peanut butter cheeseburger before. Not a cheeseburger, just a hamburger before.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah. You take a regular burger and you top it not with cheese, but you spread peanut butter on it.
You know
and then
what?
put it
I'm
between
not
two
gonna
buns.
ask. You can explain it to me later. We need to call it a day.
I just figure we're just gonna like keep this going until they press the stop button.
Oh.
I don't know.
Good night, everyone. We're going to sleep now.
Everyone say good night. We're gonna go into a food coma.
Good night. Food coma
Good night.
rules, man.
Otaku
That's my
on.
life.
Aloha.
That's not line. Otaku on my friends, and again, happy Thanksgiving to y'all.
Woohoo.
Happy Thanksgiving. Keep it foodie.
Perfect.
Be sure to wash the dishes.
No.
かけてた